The Voluntary Reaction. This football season, tune into Big Orange Country's post-game radio free-for-all, The Voluntary Reaction, presented by the Griffin Law Firm. We'll be live on the Fan Run Radio app as soon as every UT game is over, taking your calls and breaking down the game to levels that can only be described as beyond scientific. So tune in and drink with us from the keg of glory or drown in the pool of despair. The Voluntary Reaction on Fan Run Radio.
The Voluntary Reaction. Raw, unfiltered, real.
Hello, welcome to the Voluntary Reaction. Oh, what a day, what a night. Voluntary Reaction brought to you by the Griffin Law Firm. I'm Bob Baskerville. I'm pinch hitting for our guy Russell Smith tonight, as many of you know by now. Russ is tending to a family emergency. So, of course, our thoughts are with the Smith family. I'm joined, as always, by Bear, Davey Hudson, and Walker Smith. Oh, so I'll introduce the fellas here in 1 second. This day has been one of the all-timers in terms of buzzkills for Vol Nation. Of course, we're all well aware of the story swirling around Tony Vitello by now, and I'm sure we'll hear from some folks about that. But we also have a football game to recap, be that as it may. So mostly I want to hear from y'all on what's on your mind about this game and the path forward. To me, what's crazy to think about at this point is that our most important remaining game could be against Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt could be coming to Knoxville at the end of November, and they could be favored. That's kind of the state of things right now, not just with our program, but college football in general. We also saw 4 teams in the top 10 go down this weekend and nearly a fifth. So who knows? Let's hear from you. You can call us. You can text us. The number is area code 865-966-3435. You can also live chat with us on our Fan Run TV channel on YouTube. We will interact with you on every level and take as many calls as we can. But first, I want to say hello to the gang first. Let's start with Bear. How you feeling, man?
I thought all week it was going to be really hard for us to win down there. It always is. You cannot just right off the top. You can't really make mistakes in Tuscaloosa and expect to beat them with everything that's going against you down there in general. When you're playing down there, you absolutely cannot just gift them 9 points. I mean, that's the bottom line. You take away the 9 points we gave them.
Yeah.
This game's 28-21, and we're feeling a lot different. But basically, I mean, we'll go over it on Monday. we talked about Rogers' keys to victory yesterday on the show, and we didn't do real well. We couldn't get off the field on third down. Kind of started with that first possession. We had him pretty much sacked for a safety in the end zone, and an 18-yard pass play later, they were off to the races. So just missed opportunities.
Yeah, man. That is it. Let's also say hello to Davey Hudson. Nashville. Davey, how are you, man?
Hey, boys. A little bit of a loaded question. First off, Bob, I know one of the things that we've kind of joked about in the past is after a loss, especially one of this magnitude, when you call in, I would prefer to not get that question. I will let you know if you ask. But the first thing, I do want to send my thoughts and prayers out to Russell and his family. Yes. As we said here, we're about to break this down. You can only shoot yourself in the foot so many times. I'm pissed and tired. Like, this isn't a game where I look at this Alabama team and it's just like, you know what? We didn't stand much of a chance. We lost based off our own accord. Tennessee did not go in there and look ready to face a team that wasn't that great. I don't know if you can hear it. The bath is drawing some warm water right now. The blades have been sharpened. As soon as we're done here, just going to go over there and have a little fun that way. But the callers, they're going to be pissed, and rightfully so. This was pathetic. It's one of those things where everything comes full circle. I know there's going to be a lot of conversation about Danny White tonight, and this is by no means hey, let's fire Josh Heupel. I don't want anyone to take it this way, but I do find it ironic that James Franklin was the first guy Danny White wanted to hire whenever he got this job, because it's kind of funny because at the end of the day, he got James Franklin all along.
Yeah. There's so many things swirling through my head today, all day long. Not a great way to end it, but we're going to do it together and talk through it. Walker, real quickly before we jump to the phone lines, because they're already stacking up. How you feeling, man? You're probably feeling okay. I know your alma mater won a big one, but
yeah, that kept today from being an absolute horrible day. But I mean, I look at this game and it came down to two plays. It's kind of like Bear said, like, this game looks completely different without that pick six to end the half.
Yep. Game
looks completely different if Joey Aguilar is able to get out of that safety and we spot the 9 points. And, I mean, you look at the stats, even outside of the garbage time yards we racked up, the game was pretty dead even. Like, it was dead even most of the way, and it's crazy how, like, when a game is that close on the field, 2 plays can swing it to make it a blowout. A pick six and a safety, and
if you really want to get nauseated, this is coming from Reed Carringer, friend of all of us. We outgained Alabama.
Yep.
We outrushed Alabama.
Yep.
Even in turnovers, got beat by 17 points.
Yep. That's 2 plays. That's a pick six, and that's a safety that gives them the ball back, and they go down and score. Like, that's the game. That's how simple it is.
Even when we forced the fumble, I can't remember who it was, but had they realized that in the moment, Tennessee scores a touchdown there. He's running. Like, it's just like little moments like that make me irritated because, again,
one of guys like volleyballed it.
Yeah, he just batted it back down. It's like, dude, you picked that up, like, because it bounced right to him. And if he started running right then and there, the refs didn't blow the play dead there. That was going to run. They were going to let that play out, and that would have been a touchdown. It's just things like that. And again, we talked about this last week where you force turnovers and then the offense doesn't do anything. And we already know it's going to be an uphill battle with this defense, but the offense never does anything to help them out once you get it.
Yeah. I mean, I look, man, there is a laundry list of things that I saw tonight. I know we all did, where it's like, what the hell? I mean, the safety, I will say, that I think it was Perry that kind of came down. He kind of tripped Joey up. So, I mean, that one, I didn't love it, but it's like, okay, man, we just got to move on. The pick six, I mean, it's no secret. Everybody in the freaking stadium knew that we were going to throw, man. We go jumbo with no timeouts, 9 seconds to go before the half. Alabama calls a timeout because they're like, hey, we know what's coming here. Let's set this up. And you could argue the pass wasn't great. The call wasn't great, man. The call was bad, in my opinion. And I would have much rather gone into the locker room 16-10 than what we ended up with. To me, that was a kill shot. It really was.
Yeah.
And my God, man, that just pissed me off. I know everybody felt that way, but enough of us. You know how we feel. Let's start hearing from you. Let's go to the phone lines because we have a few of you waiting already. Let's start with Anthony. Anthony, you are on the Voluntary Reaction. Welcome.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Anthony.
It's a dark day to be a Vol.
Yes, sir.
It's a tough day. It's a tough day.
So I came up with 5 plays in the game that I think pretty much described the game, decided the game. If you'll give me a little liberty here.
Please.
Play 1, it's the opening drive. We get 9 yards on the first play. Second and 1. We get a penalty immediately to make it 2nd and 6. Third down, we get it down to 2 yards, and instead of going with tempo, because we were running it with tempo early, and we were kind of getting some, we kind of got 9 yards on the first play, 4 yards second play. But instead of continuing on with that tempo, we ticked the clock all the way down to 7 seconds, pack everybody in tight. And on 3rd and 2, we run it up the middle. And, of course, we get stuffed. That was play 1. Play 2, Bama's first drive, it's 3rd and 13. Bama's got the ball inside their own 5-yard line. And our defense only brings 3 rushers. And somehow or another, but yet we still leave the middle of the field wide open, and Bama gets that 3rd and 13 on their first drive, and they go on to score a touchdown. That was play 2. Play 3 is kind of what you were just talking about. I'll set this one up. It's 16-7, 1st and goal from the 4. With 12 seconds to go, we have 1 timeout. The dumbest thing you can do is run the ball. I mean, because if you run the ball, you've got to use your last timeout, and everybody knows that you're passing it thereafter. We'll come back to that one. So we do run it, call timeout. Here's the play. We bunch everybody up in tight, I formation. So we have no options to really pass it to, even though everybody knows we have to pass it because we have no timeouts, and it's 2nd and goal. So, play action only works when it's a surprise. But we try play action anyways, and, pick 6 to the house. Play 4, we come out in the second half, we get a touchdown, we cut it to 10. Bama's got the ball at their own 1. They're lined up in the pistol, and they got the running back. His heels are almost at the white of the end zone. And instead of being aggressive, we sit back in coverage and let them get a first down, an easy first down on that play. And then play 5 was emblematic of the whole game. We get a Bishop rushing touchdown with 10:51 left in the 4th quarter to cut it back down to 10 points. We ran it quick with tempo. It made me think, why in the world did we not do that at the end of the first half?
Well, I think a lot of it has to do with the fact I'm beginning to wonder. Russ talked about it. He's talked about it for a while now. Our lack of depth at wide receiver. I wonder if that plays in. Those guys look exhausted.
Yeah, we have 3 guys.
Yeah. I mean, just the same 3 guys the whole night. My bigger problem was, and I don't know if Alabama was just stacking the box because they were going to come out and just determined to stop the run, fellas. But the Heupel offense is running the ball. We had it felt like we only had 1 or 2 rushing attempts on that first series.
I can pull
I
that
feel like
up.
they did a good job stacking the box early on, but still, the big thing for me whenever it comes to that is, let's take you were having success. I mean, I know Bishop had 1 touchdown run that was for a yard there at the end, but he was averaging over 10 yards a carry. You were eating them up whenever you got it going. I think even there at the end of the first half, listen, I get the momentum's going to swing one way or another there, but if it comes down to it, it's still within a 2-possession game at that point, where there really one at that point. I would have rather just tried to run it, impose your will on Alabama, knowing like, hey, we're going to run it down your throat. You're not going to be able to stop it. Like, that's not something you would have been able to do in the Nick Saban era. And I thought they would have had success had they tried that there on third down. And it might have even been second at that point. I don't even remember what down exactly it was. You still technically could have got up and had a chance to spike the ball since everybody's right there. If you're Heupel, this is my biggest thing with Heupel. He does not know how to play the refs. What you also do in that situation is you tell the refs, we're going to run the ball here. Once we get up, we still have time to at least spike it. If they stay on top of us, it's a delay a game on Alabama. We still have another opportunity for a play. Heupel doesn't know how to do that. If a call goes against Heupel, he goes, oh, shucks. And then he just goes back to his sideline. We talked about it last week. Get a penalty. Get a 15-yard penalty. What's the worst that happens whenever you obviously get screwed off a bad call?
Did you see what
fight for your team?
Yeah, did you see what Kurt Cignetti did last week against Oregon? He ran out onto the field, man.
Yes.
I mean,
Yes, Bob, that's exactly. We were discussing, it's like we want Heupel to do something like that, but he's too much of a, oh, golly, I'm just going to go back and we'll just take it. Just bend over right there for him, Josh. Come on.
Yeah, man. Anthony, thank you for the call. Let's move on to another one. We've got some random guy on the line. Rando, love to hear your voice, not under these circumstances, though. How are you?
Going to ask how everybody is because, God damn it, Bob, I fucking know.
Yeah.
First off, there's games and there's real life. Pray to God everything's okay with Russell and his family. First and foremost, get that out of the way.
Yes, sir.
So I'd actually turned the game on my phone. I was watching it on my phone. I was actually had a meaningful game that actually meant something in the moment. I had Texas and Kentucky on the big screen. And my wife came into the room and she's like, you're not watching the Tennessee game? I'm like, no, I got it on my phone. And she's like, well, she had been watching it in the bedroom. She's like, well, I'm coming out here. So, turn it on the big screen. And I turned it on and we got to late in the fourth. And, my wife was like, look, this game's just making you more mad. This game's just making you more mad. Just go ahead and turn the Tennessee game off. I think we were down 17. I said, babe, I'm not mad. I'm not mad. And she looked at me and she got this look on her face and she said, oh, fuck. She said, you're apathetic. And I said, you're fucking right, I am. And that is the worst thing that can happen.
Yes, sir.
I'm telling you guys, I'm apathetic. I will never, ever, ever count on Joshua Kenneth Heupel to go on the road and win a game. I just won't. I drove to Columbus and we didn't show up. I saw the same effort tonight. We were there for a little while, but this team was not ready to play. And I get it, Josh. You've got some mental trauma in your life for getting fired by Bob to protect his brother, and he threw you under the bus. But I'm telling you, buddy, you're going to have to fire your friends because you're going to get fired if you don't fire your friends. Because like right now, I mean, hey, cool. Hey, 9-3, we're going to the Citrus Bowl or I guess Pop-Tarts Bowl now or whatever it is. Fantastic. I no longer, after tonight, I no longer believe, and I could be completely overreacting. We may rehash this on Monday, guys. But right now, I no longer believe that Joshua Kenneth Heupel can win a national title. I just don't believe that. Do any of you think Josh Heupel can win a natty?
I think he's regressed as a coach. So right now, I'm going to say no. I don't know what it is. I feel like he's lost his edge. I get situations as far as the way that team is structured lead into that. But I mean, I'm not sitting here saying to fire the guy. And I don't necessarily look at just like any one guy right now and say I would fire them as it relates to his staff. I know a lot of people have opinions on who that would be. Now, I will say if there are other applicants that become available and you realize that would be an upgrade, yeah, I'd go out and do that. But again, like I'm with you. I don't think Heupel's going to do that. But it's just he doesn't coach like there's any sense of urgency.
Absolutely no sense of urgency, Davey. None.
And frankly, and I'm tired of the platitudes, by the way, too. The halftime coach speak, got 30 more minutes, take a play at a time. Joey's a gamer.
What
He's going
would
to
you
be
want
fine.
him to say, Bob?
I'd like to see him be pissed, man.
We're screwed.
No, I'd like for him to be pissed and say, no, man, this is not, that. Think about what everybody else was thinking, man. How that second half ended. He can't just say, well, it just didn't go well. I mean, I'm over it, man. Tired of hearing it. Yeah, Randy.
How about this, Bob? That wasn't Tennessee football. That's not what we do. We have to be better than that. We have to do this and this and this. X, Y, and Z. We simply didn't execute. That wasn't the game plan. That wasn't the call. I'm not throwing my quarterback under the bus. It's on me as a coach, but we've got to address that, and we're going to fix that in the second half. Something like that, some fire, some passion, some something, man.
Yeah.
But look, it's 11:40-ish at night. I made some notes. The play calling was predictable. Alabama choked us out. I am not in any way, shape, fashion, or form putting this on the players. You guys called it out. I mean, they showed the graphic. Our wide receivers are at 400 plus snaps for the three guys. I'm not putting this on Brazel or Staley or Matthews. I'm not putting it on Joey. The defense was soft. Uncle Fluffy was out there tonight a lot, especially when we should have had a safety and we gave up a 17-yard play on third down on the first drive. Ultimately, we never really, truly made Alabama uncomfortable. And until we can go on the road and we can make an SEC opponent that is our equal or better, until we can make that team uncomfortable on the road, nothing's going to change, guys. So I said 9-3 before the season started. Still think 9-3, but 8-4 is not going to shock me right now. And until Heupel does something to make me believe again, I'm just kind of at the point where I'm like, okay, well, I'm waiting for basketball season, which, that starts tomorrow. So that's great. And I guess I'll be the first one to mention it. If this is the end of the ride with Tony D, thanks for everything. I'm not going to shit on the guy for taking a major league job. Hope he's still our coach next Sunday. If he's not, he's not. And thanks for everything, Tony, if that's the end of the ride. But guys, on to the next. I wish I cared, but quite honestly, I don't. Y'all take care. Love you guys. Hope everything's okay with Russ. And talk to y'all next week.
Thank you, Rando.
He makes a good point. There's not a whole lot to do about the offensive players.
Yeah,
I think the bigger group of players to look at, if you want to point out a weak link, was our defensive line. It was their worst game of the year. No sacks. Like, we had no sacks tonight compared to their 4. Kind of got manhandled on the line of scrimmage, like they were blocking. I mean, Alabama blocked their asses off tonight. And
I'll push back.
What?
I'll push back. If you were to tell me going into this game, Tennessee's defense held Alabama to 28 points, I would have said we had a good chance.
I agree.
Listen, it's not like I'm saying like our defense's fault, like doesn't have their faults. I get it's been a big drop from last year compared to this year. I do think a big portion of that has to deal with the fact that you don't have 2 starting cornerbacks out there, and that's made things very difficult. I do agree with you, Walker, that, we weren't able to really get a ton of pressure on Ty Simpson. I mean, the one time you did, you forced a fumble, which you should have had it as a scoop and score if you were paying attention. But no, my big thing is with Heupel and his offense tonight. That is where it wasn't like I thought Alabama was doing a ton that just really aggravated us. I will say, as far as if there's anything I have a frustration with, I did not like Joey putting himself in harm's way, and we've talked about this.
Yeah.
You could tell the conversation the rest of the game after he basically tried to dive neck first into the into the Alabama linebacker. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it's like, dude, you're going to get hurt. You do that, and then the season's over anyway for the entire team. So, yeah, man, like, and the other thing I'll say is, like, I mean, we didn't let them run the ball against us. Like, we did a good job stopping that.
Yeah, we played the rush really well. I'll say that. It's just the stat that popped out to me was no sacks for a defense that had gotten a sack in every game, had only given up 4. We gave up 8 tackles for loss. Our offensive line, this was probably their worst showing of the year up to this point, but we still outrushed them. It's just, I felt like in the key moments when we knew they were going to pass, we didn't make Simpson feel our pressure, which would be, asking Tim Banks to maybe bring some more blitzes in that spot.
The only thing I'll say about the defense, because I know this has been litigated so much, is I still stand by and large. It's the most personified boom or bust defensive unit I think I've ever seen. I mean, I don't think that's hyperbole to say that. I mean,
it's a good way to put it.
They make some really, really big plays, and then they make some absolutely, inexplicably dumb plays too. And I mean, the lack of tackling late. Walker was out there with me watching it, and it
was bad.
Yeah, I was throwing every F-bomb I could at it, and then that last drive where Alabama just puts the game on ice, right? 3 penalties, 2 pass interference calls, personal foul, late hit. I mean, it's just that's not necessarily just defense in general. It's the sloppiness that we've seen week after week after week. It feels like, and
year after year.
Yeah, it's exhausting at this point. Let's jump one more call, and then we're going to be making the switch, by the way, over to YouTube exclusively. Let's talk with Angus from Chicago. Angus, how are you, man?
Well, I think what Bear was trying to get at when he said, "What would you like Heupel to say?" I think Bear was getting at, "Would you like him to say, brick by brick and champions of life?" Is that what you were getting at, Bear?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much. I mean, I hate a lot about the current production model of college football on on TV. I mean, what they had a camera on Ty Simpson's dad for a good, I mean, for being honest, probably a solid 10 minutes of that broadcast.
Yeah, Jeff Kent's dad approved of that, I think.
I'm surprised Greg McElroy didn't personally go down and start giving the Simpson family oral sex right then and there in the stand.
Yeah.
Whoa! I mean, it was that part of it. I mean, I hate watching. Like, I always think I want to hear the TV when I'm out watching a game, like at a watch party. Shout out to Barley's, or anything like that. But it's just, he's not going to say what he's really thinking.
No,
I know.
He's just trying to find something safe to say before he says, I can't believe that I'm we threw a pick 6 these cocksuckers. I don't know. That'd be what I would say, but that's why I'm here, and he's making $9 million a year.
Yeah.
Well, let me get a couple things out of the way. Thinking about Russ, wishing nothing but the best for him and his family. Hope everybody's okay. And another thing I'll get out of the way is if Tony Vitello is no longer our coach, I wish him the best. And reading the room on Twitter, if gotta send a message out to some Vol fans. If you guys are turning your backs on Tony Vitello and wishing him ill because he might be going to a pro contract, which could be double, triple, quadruple his current contract, and you want to wish him and his family ill, that's kind of the worst type of fan behavior. We should be better than that. I mean, he brought us a natty and really elevated our program. Let's practice a little bit of gratitude. But to our game today, yep, we're not drinking from the keg of glory. I've made some homemade hooch and smoked it, and that's my commiseratory keg of sorrows drink today. I'm kind of jumping on what some people are saying, and I think Heupel is still our guy. I still want him as my head coach. But now I'm in the kind of Davies camp where I'm kind of like, all right, Josh, I need to see you doing more in XYZ. I need to see, first of all, I need to see you hit the transfer portal for defensive backs because right now I don't trust our secondary at all. Whatever you have to say about Tim Banks and our defense, you know, we can generate sacks, we can generate turnovers and stuff run plays, but as soon as that ball is crossing the line of scrimmage, it's hit or miss, and most of the time it's miss. And that double pass play that we had blown up and they ran for 20 yards to get a first down was absolutely absurd. Wouldn't you guys agree?
Yeah, but I would say it's more personnel than coaching at the moment. And
Yeah.
again, you have to look at this like a NFL from that standpoint of like, where's your money tied up in? And right now it's tied up in two guys that aren't even on the field.
Yeah, but I mean, the amount of times I see guys that seem like they're just not in the position to make a play. I mean, I realize we got some young guys in there, and maybe they're not. But I'm like, at this point in the season, if you don't know how to get in position, I mean, what are you doing? I mean, and to me, that still falls on coaching.
I don't know if it's so much that it's the way we have to play because they are really young, and you can't just disregard what Davey's saying. I mean, we lost a first round, what may still be a first round draft pick, one of the best corners in the country, and then right off the bat, our other corner, who was projecting along the same, I expected Gibson to have a huge year this year. And I thought the floor for him, Bob, was going to be all SEC.
Yeah.
And the ceiling could have been a breakout, borderline All-American type year. And then we've talked about it on the Daily Show, Heupel and company. The one thing I do fault them for is I thought they were short-sighted when they decided not to pay Jacoby Thomas.
Yeah.
Because we just do not, Angus, we don't really have very good safety play, and I think that kind of boxes us in. I'm not the best X's and O's person, but if you're having trouble, as much trouble as we have right now at safety, just the way we have to play people, especially teams like Alabama, who do have elite talent at wide receiver with elite speed, and you got to try and keep those guys in front of you. Especially with, give the devil his due. Ty Simpson is playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah, he's going to be the best quarterback we play this year. Unless Mateer becomes 100% healthy by the time we play him, he's going to be the best guy under center that our defense plays.
And what is it with Tennessee and giving quarterbacks their out of their mind performance? In 2022, it was Spencer Rattler. Nobody gave Spencer Rattler the time of day. And then
tonight wasn't that, Angus.
Yeah.
I think that's
so it wasn't that.
Too.
I mean, Ty Simpson was
he's been doing that
well-regarded quarterback. He was a well-regarded quarterback long before we went to Tuscaloosa tonight. But still, it just seems like we always give quarterbacks an opportunity to show us up at some point in time. Another thing is I kind of agree that I don't know what it is with Heupel and being a loyalist with friends to a fault or something like that. I mean, I think he does need to make, a serious judgment call by the end of this season. Just be like, hey, you're my buddy and all, but you've been with me for 4 or 5 years and the results aren't there. And I need to go shopping because it's a cutthroat industry. Everybody understands that. You can't just keep playing favorites. Otherwise everybody will fall, including Heupel. And I'm with Davey as far as I want Heupel to show some damn emotion to, get in the ref's face. Because when you do that, you fire up your guys. I mean, it's the old MLB trick.
Yeah, definitely.
MLB managers know you go get in the umpire's face, you get tossed. That's all strategic.
Yeah. Angus, we got to bounce, man. Appreciate the call. Agree with everything you said, though, by the way. Totally agree. Hey, for everybody listening, we are going to be now, if you're following this and watching us and listening to us via X, we are about ready to drop that feed and go specifically solely over to YouTube, Fan Run TV. Okay, you can go to that channel, you can watch us and hear us there. You can still listen to us on the app, but that's going to be happening here momentarily. The one thing I wanted to throw out, and I think people are mentioning it in the comments and everything else, I want to actually hit on a few of those before we jump to the phone lines. I want everybody to think about, what do we think now? For me, and I don't think I'm alone, I think that my expectations of this team, I started at the beginning of the season thinking 9-3 was probably a fair record for what this team would deliver. But then I started talking myself into 10-2. That means we got to win out now. And I don't believe it. I don't think we can do it at this point based on what I saw tonight. But this might be a little bit of overreaction on a Saturday. But I want everybody to kind of weigh in on that over time. Just think about that one a little bit. One thing that was interesting that was sent to us as well was regarding Heupel and his track record. I'm looking for it now in the live chat. Let's go to the phone lines while I look for that. We got Jesse waiting. So Jesse, you're on board on the voluntary reaction. How you doing?
Well, I've been better.
Yes, sir.
My takeaway on this right now is Josh Heupel is carrying himself like he knows he has a $37 million buyout if things go south. And in this current environment of mega buyouts, or the size of everything, it's just, week in and week out, he just looks complacent on the sidelines. Like, it's just, go along, get along. And it's just, it's probably going to be talked about every single phone call about the lack of fire, lack of passion. And that's, to me, it's just, I came to that realization tonight that that's what it just looks like. And Davey, the one thing that scares me, I saw you on the stream looking over, probably watching that Auburn-Mizzou overtime game. It scares me that there's about to be a wave of job openings this offseason, that some schools are just going to rip the Band-Aid off to go get that person. And not every school can do that. Like, there's not going to be that person to go around for every school. But it's just like, if I'm Danny White, it's a hell of a lot cheaper to go up, shake the staff up, and improve the roster than it is to go down the buyout road. And it just blows my mind. Like, I think the first caller said it, apathetic. It just seems like he's complacent. And don't get me wrong, like, where this program is now, light years from where he found it. But that is just what I see week in and week out now.
Yeah, I don't know if complacent's the word I would use in the situation. I get the sentiment. It's when I watch him play, but when I watch him coach, it's just more of a, like, that's just his mentality, and he thinks that's how a head coach should act. And whenever you flip over to another channel and you're watching some of these other guys that are having more success than he is, it's like, you see how that is. And, like, I know we don't have a lot of championship caliber coaches to look at whenever it comes to college football, because there's not many that win. Like, there for the longest time, you had Saban, Urban, Kirby, Harbaugh finally got in, Ryan Day got one. But you look at their demeanor on the sidelines, how they respond to situations, and no one's ever going to mistake that for how Heupel acts, especially whenever it comes to talking with the officials. And so just seeing that, and like, you're right, there are about to be a bunch of head coach openings coming up, especially in the Southeastern Conference. We know a lot of schools that have already pulled the trigger. And tomorrow, I imagine we hear that about Hugh Freeze Billy Napier, despite them winning today against Mississippi State, he's done going into the bye week. I'd be shocked if he coaches another game at Florida. And so it's going to be interesting to see how these schools respond. The other thing I'll say, because I'm seeing a lot of people comment about like, we don't have depth, which is a testament to the lack of coaching and building that. Man, like I would have agreed with you a decade ago. I can't necessarily agree with that now because of the NIL and transfer portal. And I'm not going to talk out of both sides of my mouth because like I actually love that the sport's where it's at because you get what we're seeing where any given Saturday somebody could come and lose whenever you would think like typically that's not a game they should, but it's just because, man, like you don't have the depth. You lose one guy, it could definitely be that position that the opposing team just targets. And that's kind of been our case with Ty Redmond. And I think the kid's going to turn into a good player, but I mean, Georgia exploited him, Alabama first round him. And so you're just going to see that more and more. And that's where you need the coaching to step up. And so it's like, all right, how are you going to get your guys in position to where it's like they can stop that because you know what's coming. And it's a game of chess. You're going to win some, you're going to lose some whenever it comes to those matchups. But at the end of the day, we just weren't really in a position to where this was a close game. Like after the first quarter, or I guess really going into the end of the first half, like after that happened, I mean, my timeline was just, that's game, ball game. And I felt the same way too. It's like, this team isn't coming back from that. That's the thing. It's like, I don't see Heupel being a coach that brings his team back when they're down. It's a team, if you can get up early, you can attack in the first quarter. Lost a lot of money. I thought Tennessee was going to cover 3.5 in the first quarter. That definitely did not happen. Heupel's not a guy that they're able to come back and win these games. It's like, if you better be up at the beginning, because if not, you're screwed.
Yeah. And I think what did it for me is I firmly felt the game was over when we scored in the third quarter. And for whatever reason, he decided to start chasing points.
Bad decision to go for two.
Yeah, because I mean,
11 minutes left in the third.
Even up until when we scored the next touchdown in the fourth quarter, that's your point where it's still a 2-score game. I'm not going to prolong this. I hope Russ is all that. Bob, you said you wanted to hear a lot of it. Oddly enough, I still think 10-2 is definitely on the table. Fun fact: as much people are going to drag Josh Heupel tonight, it's been 4 years since a school not named Georgia has won a game in Neyland Stadium in the SEC. OU does not scare me. The quarterback, who was highly hyped this year, refuses to sit and let his throwing thumb and heal, and that's only going to. I mean, he looked like trash today. Vandy, I'm just going to assume that they're going to run through a schedule that by the time they come to Neyland, I think Diego Pavia is going to cost so much of our fan base, just like every fan base that they play each week, to turn out for it. For me, I think 10-2 pivots on ending another streak that has started since 2003, and that's winning in Gainesville. Hopefully Napier's not on the sidelines and, they basically tossed in. Hope Russ is okay. P.S. If Tony's going to the Giants, good for him. Sadly, I wish we had a football coach that other, higher up places would want to go after. So y'all have a good night.
Thank you, Jesse. Yeah, that's interesting. I saw somebody here in the comments on the live chat saying, I was just saying that Heupel will win 8 to 9 games a year, occasionally sneak into a playoff, but that's the absolute ceiling, just like Mark Richt was at Georgia. Man, when you start bringing that Mark Richt,
not the Mark Richt comparison,
and what a great dude!
He's not. I mean, I don't know. I know people are really upset. We all are. Wish this game had turned out differently. I do think it's. I don't get the impression he's afraid to fire his friends. I mean, his buddy. I mean, say what you and Tim Banks did have. Weren't we like top 10 ranked defense last year?
Yeah.
I mean, he's. I don't know.
I don't think Banks should be.
Not seeing a pattern is all. That's all. Great year last year.
Any talk. I can't remember if it was Jesse or if it was Angus or said Heupel looked like a guy that was waiting on his buyout money. That was pretty far out there. I don't think that's really true.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a little pushback on the.
My only thing again with the Banks thing was you're right. Last season that defense carried the team often, but I the sample size is small to me. That's I don't see a pattern developing by any stretch.
Yeah.
So let's keep going on the phone lines. Got Roberto waiting. Roberto, what is up, my man?
Just a second.
Roberto, you there?
Yep. There we are. Yep. I didn't get the buzzy thing until just now.
Cool.
Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's been a pretty shitty day as a Tennessee fan. I mean, the Vitella stuff breaking around like noon, 2:00, somewhere in there. That just set you up for what you expected tonight. I was pretty high on this team winning tonight until about 3:00, and I was like, well, we're gonna lose our baseball coach. We're gonna go down there. We're gonna lay an egg. That's pretty much what we did. I just can't believe we are 1 yard from scoring a touchdown when Braylon Staley falls flat on his face going into the end zone. I looked at my wife and go, "We're not going to score here." She's like, "You're crazy." I go, "We're not going to score here." I thought we might kick a field goal.
No.
But we score there, 16-14. Everybody's holly jolly, going to halftime, do the thing where we stop them when we came out like we did. Whole new ball game, man. And the thing that I harp on the most as a fan, and you guys have already hit on it, but Bob, you've known me a long time, and I've hammered at this for 4 years. And I think people are finally starting to come wise to it. Josh Heupel doesn't get any calls from the officials ever because he will not show emotion other than just, "Oh, you got to be effing kidding me. You're full of S," whatever, right? He won't get a fine. I mean, I've never seen a 10 millionaire care so much about $25,000 in my life, right? He won't stand up to Sankey. His AD won't go to bat for him. Your team is going to, I said this 3 years ago and people said I was an idiot. And I've said it many, many times since. Your team play as you act. If you don't act like you give a shit every single time, then your team's going to act like they don't give a shit every single time. Like he's getting railroaded by these officials. And I'm not saying that the officials are the reason we lost the game, but there were so many holding calls that were not called tonight. There was so many odd things. How many more times are they going to call us short on an obvious first down and then not overrule it, and him just not absolutely lose his shit on the sideline?
Yeah, we joke and laugh about like Kirby Smart and all his histrionics and everything, but man, I don't know. It seems to work. It definitely worked last week in that Auburn game. It's.
Hey, he lost his mind on a call today.
Yeah,
flipped the game.
Yeah,
we're sitting here bemoaning the fact that we're about to lose our baseball coach, and congratulations to him. I think Bob, I said it to you 2 or 3 years ago, maybe even. I said, man, the thing that worries me about Tony is he's going to go to the MLB. And I never really believed it because I think recruiting is his superpower, right? But we're sitting here bemoaning him leaving. He's probably the most popular man in Knoxville. And it's because the man gets thrown out of games, bumps officials, and doesn't take shit from anyone. He's one of us. And Josh Heupel's about to find out that we don't like guys who take shit from everybody. I hate that for him.
Yeah.
But he's about to find out. And I don't have much to say other than I don't think our defense was that bad. I know I hear a lot of people pissing and moaning about our defense. I don't think our defense played that horrible. The 99-yard drive was bad, admittedly. And that was the worst drive. That was the one where we missed all the tackles and it just pop. did the Alabama thing, 12 yards every single play. I would still say it's kind of hurtful that hurtful to our defense that, as Bear said a moment ago, we're missing 2 all SEC type defensive backs, and they ain't coming back apparently. I mean, I swear I thought Jamal McCoy was playing last week. They ain't coming back.
Yeah, for sure.
And by the way, that game last week doesn't look so bad now, does it? They threw a bunch of punches at Texas A&M.
They sure did. They sure did. Yeah, I mean, that could have been the 5th top 10 team that went down. That was neck and neck most of the game.
Yeah, and I'll leave you with this, and thanks for the time, guys. 10-2 still there. I know it's going to be hard. We don't lose in Neyland. Everybody knows that. Our toughest game left is Vanderbilt. They're good. I'll give them that. They're good. How wild would it be if somehow we fiddle around? We beat Kentucky on the road next week. They played really well against Texas today, and also Texas's ass. And then we somehow middle around and we win at home. We go down to Florida and we just middle around because that's all we do, and we win. Vanderbilt's a play-in game because it's going to be a play-in game. Don't kid yourself.
No,
they're coming in with 2 losses,
yeah,
and we're going to have 2 losses, and one of those teams is going to the college football playoffs, and one of them is going home. And if you give me that type of kneeling, we're going to whip their ass. See you guys.
See you, man. Thank you. Jesse on the live chat said James Franklin showed more passion as an unemployed head coach in his 9-minute interview on game day today than Heupel has in the past year or two. Did any of you guys see the Franklin interview?
I saw clips from it.
I just saw people's reaction to it, that it sounded like he was wanting to be coaching next year.
Yeah, he's not. He's going to try to get back quickly. All right, let's go to the phone lines. Another caller. Let's see who we got here. We're working the phones. We got Jesse. Nope, Jesse already came up.
No,
Sorry,
Jackson.
Jackson. Sorry, wrong J. Jackson, how are you, man?
Hey, we're doing pretty good. We're on the way back right now to Knoxville from Tuscaloosa. So, I mean, been better, I guess.
Yeah, man.
But we got about 4.5 hours till we get home. We've got cigars that we didn't get to smoke. But man, I'll tell you, the difference in that game comes down to that play right before halftime, man. The pick six, you give them 7 points there. You give them a safety early on in the game. We gave them 9 points. And, I don't know, like, I don't understand the Josh Heupel slander. Like, he's got us to where we're at now. Obviously, I'm still a big supporter of him, but it was one of those where I just don't think this team is built to come from behind, And after they scored that 99-yard drive in the second half, we pinned them deep on their 1-yard line. They went down and scored a touchdown. I figured at that point, like, man, we don't deserve to win this game. And I don't know. It's tough. I wish it was a little more competitive than it was.
Well, you say that, Jackson, and my pushback on that is we outgained him. We were even on turnovers.
Yeah.
But, the big thing is they turned our turnovers and screw-ups into points.
Yeah.
But, I mean, if you take away the pick six, the safety, I know this is a real, if man had stones should be my uncle kind of argument, but, I mean, we threw a pick six. That was a 14-point swing. Had that blunder of a safety. I mean, we ran very well against him. I wish we'd ran more earlier in the first half. We got a little pass happy there for a minute.
10 more penalties.
Yeah, I agree.
10 more penalties, though, man. It just keeps coming.
Yeah, I mean, it's just and because for people who want to complain about the refs, there was some stuff to nitpick tonight for sure. I thought for sure the kid that hit Aguilar on the ground probably should have been ejected for what he did. But we're so blatantly obvious about what we do when we screw up. The only penalty that I really kind of looked at with, side-eyed Bob was the Staley, the covered, whether or not he was covered or uncovered on the line.
Oh, yeah.
It was, I think Braslett, it was like a 17, 18-yard gain. And
that was the OPI that they called.
Yeah, and they never – no. This is early on. This is like in the first half.
Oh, okay. I was at the other side, other end of the field.
Where they didn't –
it was the correct call.
It may have been, but they've got to do a better job of showing – they showed the one angle where it doesn't – it wasn't the right angle. You couldn't tell.
I didn't like – yeah, I didn't like the OPI. That led to the safety ultimately.
Yeah.
So, but again, like I don't like it, but you can't give them the opportunity to call it, and it's just penalties continue to hurt this team. But that's Josh Heupel as a head coach in a nutshell. Like, I'm not breaking any news here. You go back to the 3-and-out days in 2020, right before we're about to hire this guy, and that was the thing we were talking about at UCF. Like, penalties are just baked into the system, no matter what you want to do. And again, I think a part of that is just how Josh operates from his mentality with the officials.
Yeah, I agree. And, voluntary reaction, this is where we all come for therapy, right? Like, going into this game, Georgia beats Ole Miss today. There's no undefeated teams left in the SEC. It looks like, hey, if you beat Alabama, you're in the driver's seat now. Maybe make an SEC championship game and secure a top seed in the playoff. And now I'm over here thinking, like, man, what is the ceiling for this team? Like, we haven't won in the swamp in over 20 years. Oklahoma looks pretty good. Vanderbilt looks pretty good. And maybe this is just the battered ball syndrome in me talking, but I don't know. It's all I know is it's going to be a long drive home.
I think 9-3 is the ceiling. I just can't look at this schedule, which it's relatively easy compared to a lot of other SEC teams, but think Tennessee's going to win out. I just, with how this team is playing, and again, that's where it's going to be one of those situations where it just comes back to, you should have beat Georgia. Had you won that game, you didn't have just one up and still make the playoff. But I don't have that luxury now, and I can't see us not stumping our toes somewhere else, more than likely down in the swamp. I mean, it's kind of like I had no anticipation of coming in here and winning today against – last time you won in Alabama was 2003. It's what, 2000 – what was the last time you won? It was last time we won in Florida also 03?
It was either 03
Has
or
to be.
01. Right?
It was 03.
Yeah.
03, yeah.
So, they have kids that can drink now that were born then.
Well, Jackson, appreciate your call, man. Be safe going home.
Yeah.
Hey, quick factoid. This is what I was looking for earlier. It came from Ashmac GBO on the live chat on Fan Run TV. Heupel is 33-1 when leading the game at halftime, when the Vols are. Trailing at halftime, he is 4-13, and it doesn't matter what the deficit is. He's 4-13 if he's trailing at halftime. And he has 2 wins total as a head coach when he's down 10 plus points. 2018, he was down 16 points, came back to beat Memphis. And then in 2024, last year, the Vandy got out to the early start on him.
Davey, do you know what his one loss is with the halftime lead?
One loss with a halftime lead.
No,
No.
baby.
I'm
Bama
blanking.
2 years ago. Last time we were down there.
Yeah, Joe Milton.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I feel like there's a couple of games too where I remember being tied at the half. I feel like we were tied at the half with Arkansas, right? Or no, we were down 7-0, I think. Yeah. I'm just reading the comments here, and Chad Moore says lots of good teams are going to lose more games. Lots will have 3 losses. In my opinion, we end up with 4, maybe 5, and get a crap. Oh, well, here's what I'll say. If you're looking at it, the big problem with losing today is your opportunity for ranked wins, because it's going to be hard to. I can see Oklahoma losing a couple more games. Vandy, at least, I mean, they should still be ranked when you play them, but you're just not going to have any quality wins at the end of the day where it's just like, hey, this really stands out, to where if you are with a similar record as another team, it gives you something to put you ahead of somebody else. And so losing to Georgia and Alabama, those are your two big opportunities.
Are we going to see Vandy in the top 10 this week?
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, they'll be
They're
ahead of us.
they're going to be ranked ahead of us.
I mean, had you won, you you could make an argument Tennessee moves all the way up to like 5.
Yeah.
That's kind of like where they had been ranking us. So even after the Georgia game, they gave us like the respectful, like, hey, we're going to keep you in between 15 and 12. And in your next big game, you're either going to prove to us you're a top 10 team or you're not. And now we're not going to be able to crack the top 10 for the rest of the season. We're going to have to sneak into the back half just because our schedule, especially if Oklahoma's bad, we're only going to have a real top 25 game against Vanderbilt at the end of the season.
I think Clark Lee's name's going to come up in some of these coaching searches too. Whether he wants to leave his alma mater or not, I don't know. But man, I guarantee eyes are on him now.
There are some of those alma mater guys out there in college football that are good coaches like that. I mean, he's good at Vanderbilt, Dillingham at Arizona State. These guys that are like alums of universities and go there and are really good at a young age. That's going to be interesting to see what happens when they get a lot of contracts thrown in their face.
Definitely.
Nobody's going to want to hear this, but I'm going to say it anyway. I'm here in Nashville. I like Clark Lee. I think he's a good person. I've actually enjoyed my interactions with Clark Lee more than I have Josh Heupel.
I'm impressed with Clark Lee because he walks that fine line where I think he's a total pro, but he can get rowdy as well. Just the stuff we've been talking about, right? I don't know. I think that's the part that's kind of digging at me right now. Let's jump to the phone lines again. Another caller, Jay. Jay, you're on the voluntary reaction. Welcome. What's on your mind? I can only imagine.
Well, it's a tough game. I agree with. I disagree with some of the points made. I do agree that it sucks because it doesn't feel like this is some juggernaut Alabama team you just lost to. And you kind of just feel like you shot yourself in the foot a lot of the times. Whereas
we did. Absolutely, we did.
Yeah. And, it just feels different because, when you used to play Saban's Bama teams, you just feel like, man, we just got our teeth kicked in. I don't know if there's really much we could do. Of course, we had the legion of geniuses, a head coach leading our program during the Saban years. But with Heupel, look, I don't tell anybody how to fan, and Heupel is definitely not perfect. And I get emotions are high, but Heupel didn't tell Aguilar to throw that pick and not throw it, over his back shoulder towards the pylon. That was a bad throw by Joey. He could have thrown it out of bounds even and got another play. The Aaron snap after we get the turnover, and then the Aaron snap that just kills, and Joey has to run back and fall on the ball. That just kills our drive. Yes, it all starts and ends with the head coach, the guy who's making $10 million. But these are not kids that are just playing for a scholarship and a meal plan anymore either. And, they also have a job to execute. And I see a lot of times Heupel putting these kids in positions to make plays, and people aren't executing or doing what they need to do, and it's killing our drives. Even towards the end of the game, 10 minutes left, you have a 3rd and 10. I said you need a 3-and-out or a turnover. You get 3rd and 10, and then you get a pass interference call on a ball that wasn't even catchable. And it just killed us. It's like, Heupel didn't tell that field goal kicker to miss the field goal against Georgia. At some point, you got to be able to execute and make a play when you're put in those positions. And, this idea that I'll tell you what, if he is Mark Richt 2.0, I'll take that right now because damn long ago that I forgot what it feels like to be coached by Jeremy Pruitt and Butch Jones and everybody else. And there's going to be a lot of schools, a caller mentioned all these schools making moves. Let me tell you something. There's going to be a lot of schools going to great coaches out there. And you can say what you want about the man, but he's beat Florida twice. He's beat Alabama twice. We're going to be favored in every game that we play here on out, I would bet, especially when you get your two hardest opponents at home. And if the man wins another 10 games playoff somehow, there is no way that anybody could have dreamed that he would have accomplished what he accomplished in 5 years when he took this job over. And people are on here talking about him almost like, maybe he ain't the one. I mean, they're not saying it, but they're definitely hinting at it. He's got the 7th or 8th best winning percentage since he took over UT in the country. And they're talking, I mean, like I get his emotions and people are upset, but I mean, the way that people are talking about this guy is just wild. I don't care if he's more demonstrative or not. They used to say that about Fulmer on Sports Talk when Fulmer was reeling off championships and 10-win, 11-win seasons like it was his birthright. People would still get on Fulmer about not being demonstrative enough. It just doesn't do it. I don't know. I just don't get that. I truly don't get that.
I agree with a lot of what you were saying. The one thing I would say, there is a difference. You bring up the Fulmer comparison. The one thing I think, and this is a plus for Josh, is, man, he is recruiting the hell out of the country right now. They're doing a great job in terms of bringing in recruits, which that was one of the things that felt like with Fulmer was starting to fade at the end of his run. And so you're right. Some of this is heat of the moment. We got to remember some of these things. It's just, there was just a lot we saw tonight. I think all of us saw that was very, very frustrating. And you're right. A lot of it's, it's executional. It happens on the field. It's the players, not the coaches. I would still argue there were some things that I was left scratching my head on in terms of clock management, the play call at the end of the first half, all those things. But your points are certainly, they're definitely common sense ones for sure.
Jay, let me ask you this. Did Penn State make a mistake by firing James Franklin?
Yeah, in my opinion, they screwed up.
And again, I'm not sitting here saying Heupel should be fired. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
top 10 opponents.
But my biggest thing, Jay, is when you look at this, what's frustrating here is you got to be able to win on the road in big game environments if you ever want to win a national championship. And right now, Josh Heupel can't do that. And so I do think we've listen, like, as long as you hold the recruiting class together, you get Brandon Faison in here, things can look up. And like, again, like, I'm still going to have the hope that Heupel can eventually get to that level. Right now, I don't see it. And I understand why people are frustrating and feel like Heupel has peaked as a head coach.
Fair. I mean, that's not look, that Arkansas loss last year, that was bad.
Yeah, man.
That South Carolina loss, that was bad. I mean, Heupel is not, I'm not sitting here claiming Heupel is perfect, because he's not. I don't know many coaches that are, though. But to your point, who is really going into Tuscaloosa right now and winning on a consistent basis? And that doesn't mean
no
that,
one
like,
right now is, but I think we could all argue, and again, this doesn't all fall on Heupel, but it's like you've had two really good chances the last two times you've gone down there and you've found ways to blow it.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it's not like Alabama beat you, you beat yourself.
It's tough law. I don't agree. I don't disagree. I mean, that's tough. I mean, you were winning at halftime, and then all of a sudden you imploded with Joe Milton. And I don't feel like this is some great Bama team. I mean, I get why people are frustrated with this. I mean, I do not feel like this is some juggernaut Alabama team that you just lost to. But we'll see, guys. I still think 10-2 is on the table. Maybe I'm a sheep, but I think you should beat a Florida team that doesn't basically have a head coach probably when we play him. Kentucky is Kentucky. You get Oklahoma at home. You get Vanderbilt at home. I mean, I don't know. I'm expecting them to win those games. I think if they lose, I think that would be bad losses. I mean, you let Diego Pavia come in here and beat you in your own stadium, that would be a very bad. I don't care how good they are. You should never let that happen at Tennessee.
It's
In my
gonna be the
opinion.
last taste in the mouth for a season because no one's going to care about a bowl game at that point.
Hell yeah.
No, guys, I appreciate the time, man. Y'all be good. All right.
Thank you, Jay. Let's connect with our guy Dr. Vol. Dr.
Pretty sure he's driving back from T-Town.
Yeah, how you doing, man?
That's always my rule with VR. I've been listening for years is don't ask the host how you're doing. It's Davey at flashbacks 2019 JG against Alabama. At the end of the first half.
It's funny you say that, DR, because I was actually looking up the exact date that happened earlier just to see if it so happened to be on October the 18th. It wasn't. It was October the 21st of 2019.
Oh,
so not exactly an anniversary.
Okay. Well, at least we have two anniversaries we can hate. Guys, is Heupel a beta? I don't. What's going on with him, man?
Not coming across as an alpha.
You were excited. You were excited about your Arizona State win. I don't want to hear from you. No offense.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm pissed, guys.
No,
I'm pissed.
I think we all are, man.
You have the right to be pissed.
Yeah. I honest to God, man, this is another thing. You were at the game. I was watching on TV. We know all week long how McElroy was talking about how he didn't have a whole lot of faith in Joey Aguilar. But then all he said during the game tonight was, man, this guy's so tough. It was almost like it was that whole pat on the head, patronizing thing. Like, yeah, little buddy, he's good, man. Look at how gutty he is. And I mean, the whole thing pissed me off because it felt like, yeah, you guys you're almost there. You're not quite there though. That was the whole vibe that I was getting in this game. It was very, very frustrating.
Yeah. And I think Davey just said it too. Like, last 2 years in Tuscaloosa, like we should have had it. I mean, I get we lost. I didn't even watch the second half, guys. I'll be honest with you. I went upstairs, started putting together a piece of furniture for my daughter. I couldn't handle it. The last 2 years at Tuscaloosa, you just pissed it away. I don't get it. And like, I'm not even worried about Gainesville. We're winning at Gainesville. I think the third loss comes at home against Vandy because that'll hurt worse.
Oh man.
I'm at least glad to hear you say you went upstairs, DR, because for some reason I thought you were down in Alabama. So I'm at least glad to hear you.
Oh, no. I'm not suicidal. No.
He's not insane. Didn't you go to Ohio State?
I'm an idiot. I went to Ohio State to watch that in person, got harassed by a Mexican with his pants down when we left the game, and plenty of Ohio State fans, but there was no way I was going to this game.
Oh my God.
Like, we outgained them, y'all. Like we were in that game.
It was two plays,
what were
man.
we doing?
2 plays.
Yeah.
I don't know what to make. You just made me think of something too. Somebody sent me a picture that they were down in Tuscaloosa, and it was the statue of Bear Bryant, and somebody had tied a balloon to him, one of those like well wishes balloons that said "Get well soon." Which just made like no freaking sense whatsoever. But they were showing people just huddled around the statue taking pictures like, they were in Peru or something, looking at a monument. God, it makes me mad. Makes me mad losing this game. Like the way we did too. I mean, that's the part that's just so frustrating. It's
Bob, I've said that for years. I never, I'm not going to be a liar. Like losing, I get it. In sports, you're going to lose, but I hate losing when I don't know that we're better than that team, but the way we played, we handed it to them, and I don't get it. And this is not why we lost the game, but why is Sham Umarov in the game? He is horrible. If he was a condom, then the world population decline would not be an issue. He can't stop nothing. He's terrible. And again, that's not why we lost, but watching him, man, it is like watching Dontavius Blair out there. It's awful.
Didn't expect a Blair reference tonight. Listen, we got to get David Sanders more involved. That's another thing. They need to shift the lineup. I mean, right now, I don't know if anyone saw it, but Texas beat Kentucky in overtime by 3. That was, I think it was 16-13. It's not like Kentucky's offense is lighting it up. I mean, I know, like I don't know what to make of that because Texas doesn't have a good offense either. So I don't know if like Kentucky actually has a good defense or what. But you're going to go up there. I don't know if they're just ready to throw in the towel. But Heupel has to have these guys ready to bounce back, especially after that. I mean, you lose to Kentucky, like 7-5, 6-6 is definitely doable at that point. Because if we lose to Kentucky,
we aren't losing a damn Kentucky.
I'm just saying. Listen,
stop paying attention for like 5 minutes, and I come back and you charting out
It's a lot
charting
longer
out
than 5
past
minutes.
to damn 5 and 7. You go to hell. And 6 and 6. Get the hell out of here, dude.
that's what happens when you shoot yourself in the foot like you did.
Arch Manning's he's not good. They were playing that broken-thumbed Oklahoma team that's not functional offensively.
It's going to be a road game. It's going to be a road game on the
I don't
night.
give a damn. They could play that in the middle of a typhoon on some atoll out in the South Pacific. We're beating Kentucky. I don't care if I am tempting the thing. You guys act like we're suddenly terrible. We ran into a damn threshing machine down there in Alabama.
They were not a threshing machine.
Dude, they are not a threshing machine.
No,
they are.
No.
I'll tell you what. Now I'll take on all damn three of you if you want me to. But we're all going to talk one at a damn time. That's one of the better throwing teams they've had in a while. Yeah. They're elite at wide receiver. We couldn't stop them passing the ball. Yeah, their running game not very good. Their defense, their pass defense is elite. And we couldn't block him in the first half. We were getting blown back into Aguilar. But to act like, to even talk about Heupel not being here, I mean, it's just a height of insanity. Dude, we're coming off a playoff year. This is our second loss. If we don't lose again, we're got a better than average chance of being in the damn. It's a playoff sport now.
Bear, I'm with you. I'm not. I hope I don't eat my words. I'm not worried about Kentucky. It's just looking further down the road, and it's just like same old crap with Heupel, man. Like, I know this has just been beaten to the ground. Like, he does not challenge the refs, and it's like they know they can make these calls because what is he going to do? Make some dumbass face at his post-game press conference? Like, that gets old to me, y'all. I don't know. And shout out to Mike Matthews, man. That dude drops more balls than any teenager that has ever existed. He just 5-star, and he can't hold on to the ball, y'all. What is he doing?
Yeah, that one hurt, man. What was
Killer
19?
Killer, Bob.
Yeah.
Just like his drop against Georgia.
Yeah, I think we're leading the nation in drops.
No, you're right. They talked about that.
It's a bad stat.
It's like in the 20s.
Did Nico have a point?
Oh,
throwing it out there.
No,
throwing it out there. They didn't surround him with enough.
Don't say that.
He's
Don't say
he'd overthrow
that.
people like 10 or 15 damn yards, dude. Drops.
Camp pushing. We didn't
ballsy.
say
You're
ballsy
you to bring that up, Nico.
They
You guys have fully awoken me with some of your all's insanity. Damn, acting like we lost to like UAB or something. Like, we're playing damn Alabama and Tuscaloosa.
Hey, UAB beat a ranked Memphis team today. Put some respect on it.
Hey, Dave, you mentioned Nico. Did they end up losing?
No, they won.
I don't know. He got hurt. I saw them. They had to help carry him off the field.
They won that game on a last-second field goal.
Well, guys, I've kept y'all long enough. Walker, I was slightly joking, even though I know Tennessee's your third team between Arizona State and Oklahoma. I'm overreactionary, and it hurts. I expected to lose, but not like that. But guys, I'll hang up, and Russ, we're thinking about you, bud. You have a good night, guys.
Thank you, man. Let's continue on with the calls. Justin Hanna is up next. You okay over there?
Yeah, phones are acting screwed.
UCLA yet to lose a conference game.
Oh, that's crazy, right?
All right, Justin Hanna coming up.
You got him?
Yep.
Justin.
What's going on, Bob?
Just whiling away a late night here.
Well, listen, first of all, Davey, I'm going to talk to him first. But you got to sack up if you're scared of Kentucky next week. Oh,
Jesus Christ.
I'm not scared of Kentucky, Justin. I'm plotting it out. I'm just saying from what we've seen, I'm just
Just
saying.
looking at the measurables.
Yeah.
Just looking at the numbers. Looking at the matchup.
I mean, my God,
I don't think we lose. I don't think we
lost
lose.
at
It's just
Maryville High School tonight, not the
my-
University of freaking Alabama.
Well,
Justin, my job on this show is just to play every possible scenario. So, hey.
That's one scenario I hadn't even thought. The day I quit Kentucky in football is the day I quit watching football.
A lot of people have been talking about wanting to fire Heupel. We only fire a coach when we
That's
lose
the
to Kentucky.
dumbest thing I've ever heard. Or anybody that says to fire Heupel people.
There's a few on that staff I wouldn't mind seeing find a different place next year. I think Tim Banks is fair. I think we've hit the ceiling with Tim Banks.
I've got no bone to pick right now. I mean, with Heupel, I'm frustrated with him, but I'm not asking for him to be fired. But I am asking for him to make some changes, just like any other head coach would do at a major program when they're starting to kind of, let's call it what it is, man. I mean, that's what we saw tonight. That's we keep, there's a pattern. We keep talking about this every single week, man. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not saying fire Josh Heupel, but make some damn changes, man.
And Bob, well, outside of last year, when has our defense really just been stellar?
Yeah, that's what I've been saying, man. Last year was an outlier. It wasn't like the trend continues. It just.
Like now, let me ask y'all. And y'all know how close is their relationship? Like, were they on the same staff together before Tennessee?
Oh, you're talking about Banks
and Heupel?
I don't know.
No, I mean Banks was at Penn State with Franklin.
State, right? Yeah.
So they never worked together or nothing like that.
Not to my knowledge. I'll double check that real
Why
quick.
don't he just fire the guy?
Dude, Tim Banks wasn't the problem tonight. We gave up, Justin, we gave up 28 points on defense. If you were to tell any Tennessee fan going into the night, if you only gave up 28 points to Alabama, you would all right, I'll sign up for that right now.
But we've been giving up shit the last 4 weeks.
Well, here's my thing on Banks. I still think this is more personnel than coaching. And again, if you get this type of performance next year, whenever you've had an opportunity to try to correct some wrongs, then I'm like, okay, go ahead, make the move. But I still don't think Tim Banks is the biggest problem for this defense right now. No, it does not look like Tim Banks and Heupel ever cross paths coaching before Tennessee.
Okay. I mean, it's just time. I mean, it's just time for a change on that. It's been 5 years, and I mean, this Bama thing's good. I don't get wrong, but I mean, we let Mississippi State. I saw it in person. We let Mississippi State run all over us for 4 quarters. I mean, there's just I'm over, and that's going to happen again. I mean, hell, I don't think Kentucky's offense is flop, but Oklahoma might be in a shootout with them. So, and then like I said, the Vanderbilt game, I'm with DR. That's one that scares the hell out of me. So, and I never thought I'd say that. Because I mean, they're damn legit, guys.
Yeah. Hey, on the defensive front, though, I do want to give a shout out to Jeremy Bernard. He actually talked smack saying it was a field of dreams, and he backed that up because we couldn't tackle his ass to save our lives.
He was their leading rusher, I think. I mean, as a wide receiver, he was their leading rusher. I mean, it's crazy. It was all on that one play, but I'm just looking at Alabama's schedule after us. They made, just given the state of affairs with some of these other teams, they at South Carolina should be a win. LSU at home,
dogfight win.
Oklahoma at home.
LSU's trash. Brian Kelly's going to get fired too. That's another coach we need to add to the list.
Ooh.
Oh, and Mike Norvell, by the way, who his team did beat Alabama. They're losing.
They were losing to Stanford. Yeah,
they still are.
They are
13-10.
Yeah. I was going to ask you guys, who do we think gets the pink slip tomorrow?
Billy and Hugh. I'm hearing Billy, it's just a matter of when they announce it, but it should be tomorrow.
Yeah, it'll be
even after he won today.
Davey, have you heard?
Yes.
What I was hearing is that they're going to ask him to stay. They're going to fire him, but ask him to finish out the season.
Yeah, I'm still kind of confused on how they're going to do that. It's like they're trying to hold it over his head, but I don't understand the dynamics exactly as to how they're going to do that. If I am him, why would I stay on if I know I'm being let go, because all you can do at that point is just have more losses on your resume. It's not like you can get some wins that's going to make anything different. So if I'm him and they're going to fire me, go ahead and get me out.
Yeah, either that or you're not winning another game this year.
Yeah.
If I were him.
Well, we've said it as Vol fans. I want Napier to get fired and then ask to stay, and he stays for when we go to Gainesville, because I feel that team's going to be so broken by then, just given that news.
Me either that or the week after we get done playing him. But he won a game today against a decent team, and they were booing him walking off the field.
They should have lost the game, Bear. I'm telling you, Mississippi State had the ball. They were deep in Florida territory, down 2. And for some inexplicable reason, they were lined up already for about a 43, 44-yard field goal. And Blake Shapen decided to pass and got picked off.
Yeah, by a nose guard.
Yeah.
By one of the greatest, funniest jinxes I've seen in a while in that one, with our guy Bob saying that Billy Napier is about to lose his last game in heartbreaking fashion. And I shit you not, less than a minute later, the defensive lineman gets the interception.
I mean, Mississippi State, their fans should be apoplectic about that one, man. They had no reason to lose that game.
Oh, yeah.
It was unbelievable.
I don't understand why they would be throwing.
Yeah.
The real winner here is a Tennessee alum, and his name is Jimmy Sexton.
Jimmy,
did he actually graduate? He went here. I don't know if he ever actually got his degree, though.
He was hanging out with Lane today down in Oxford, or in Athens rather. So all right, man. Well, we should carry on. Justin, you got anything else as we wrap up?
Yeah, real quick, and I'll hop off and let y'all just go on. But what's the latest on Tony? Yeah, and I'll hang up and listen to y'all. And just real quick, for us listening, we're thinking about you, buddy. So, I'll talk to y'all later.
Thank you, Justin.
There is no Vitello news.
Yeah.
Right, Bob?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're, certainly by the time we come back around on Monday, there's going to be news one way or the other. But, by all accounts, everything you're seeing is what we're seeing. And, it's a bummer. And there's greater subtext to that whole story than just, Tony moved on to bigger and better things. And as somebody said earlier, nobody should be pissed at him about that if that's what he chooses to do. But that's all we, again, we don't have any great detail beyond what you're all seeing on social media. And again, you can damn well bet it will be covered a lot on The Drive and other shows on Fan Run Radio.
Yeah.
I do think there are some things that Danny White could acquiesce to that would convince Tony to stay.
Yeah, I just don't know if that's going to happen.
Probably not, because Danny White is a cutthroat businessman, and baseball does not generate revenue. So
it wasn't his hire either.
Yeah, and it's well known they're both at kind of a loggerhead right now. So
but I mean, you've got one coach on your campus that's won a national championship.
Yep.
Listen, I got a lot of pushback on that.
I realize it's a non-revenue sport, but it's what am I trying to say? I'm so tired. Do you really want to make him let him walk away?
I agree.
Especially he's a fan favorite. I mean, there's going to be Danny's going to catch a lot of heat if Tony's not our coach.
Yeah.
The other thing I will say is I do believe that report came out today and not tomorrow for a reason.
Oh, I think you're right. I think.
And had Tony not wanted it to come out today, it would not have. Obviously, a big day for Danny White. And again, with them not exactly being on, say, level surface right now as far as seeing eye to eye. But I think with that happening, that means Tony's still willing to leave the door to come back. Because right now, if San Fran wanted him to be their manager, he would be their manager.
Yeah. Yeah, we shall see.
It's interesting the report comes out that they're close and that it's not done.
Yeah.
That's just the kind of weird part about it, where all we can do is kind of wait and see what happens.
Yep. Let's go to the phone lines. Got another caller. They're still stacking up. We've got Trey. Trey standing by.
Hey.
Trey, what's up?
Hey guys, I just really am fed up with all the bullshit of the doom and gloom about Tennessee football. No one was calling for Banks' head last year when he led us and the defense led us to a playoff run or a playoff appearance. And I get Heupel's been underperforming. I've went to Tuscaloosa the past 2 times. I went to the Swamp, went to Ohio State, and I get there's some time management stuff going on, and he makes some questionable decisions. But at the end of the day, players make plays. And when your offense gives up 9 points to the other team, you don't deserve to win the game. Believe me, I'm driving back right now from Tuscaloosa. I wish it was a different story, and I hate seeing it. But at the end of the day, your players got to make the plays. I graduated college. I was in college when Ron Mauer and Jarrett Garantano were our quarterbacks, and I'd seen some dog days of Tennessee football, and it was inconceivable that we'd even compete with Bama 4 years ago. And a lot of this whole doom and gloom type mentality, I just don't get it. We're still a good team. We're still competitive. And I think if you think that we're better off with somebody other than Heupel, I really think you need to get your head out of your ass because it's crazy. We're in light years ahead of the program's light years ahead of where it was 4 years ago. And, that's kind of the end of my speech, but I just don't get all this doom and gloom type mentality.
Yeah, Trey, you're right. It's when you look at this roster right now and compare it to what we looked at it in the beginning of the season, it still says 9-3. Like, we all looked at this roster before the ball was snapped once, and we're like, that is a 9-3 football team right there. That was almost everyone's predictions. And you look at this team now, after we lose to Alabama, we lose the close one to Georgia at home, you're still going to point at this team and be like, that still looks like a 9-3 football team. Like, it's the same team we knew we were going to watch almost this whole year, but the close calls, obviously, against Georgia, the close games against Mississippi State and Arkansas, and now this game, like, it kind of blurs the vision, but that's still what this team is. It's a 9-3 team.
It is, and, I mean, we can talk about hypotheticals all day long, but if a kicker makes one kick against Georgia, this game's not a marquee matchup of the SEC. And, again, when your offense gives the other team 9 points, you're on the goal line. Don't get me wrong. I was sitting there with everybody, and not a single person in that stadium was thinking that this was an easy toss-up win for Bama when we're on the 2-yard line or whatever yard line it was, went through a pick six with 10 seconds left in the half. We score right there. I mean, who knows who wins that game? And, you can talk in hypotheticals all day long, and I get that we kind of got dog walked in the second half, and it was a tough watch, but it's hard to listen to some of this stuff, at different callers, different people just complaining. I mean, guys, we weren't even relevant 4 years ago. And I can travel to Tuscaloosa and have a chance to watch us beat Bama at Bama. I mean, last time we did that, I was 3 years old, shit my pants. I just don't get it.
That's fair. I mean, you're right. I think back to that very first year when Heupel came in, and I was frankly stunned at the kind of product we ended up having in that first season. And so that brought a hell of a lot of goodwill. I just think that the question becomes, you're right. We could still be 9-3 this year. 9-3, I'm of the belief, won't get you into the playoffs. It's this whole fine line between plateauing and continuing to evolve, and I think that's what's, like, at least speaking for myself, that's the part that's frustrating for me. Again, like I said, I'm not saying we need to fire Josh Heupel. I'm just saying it's like, I just feel like are we really evolving? Because here we are again, talking about a game and the Georgia game, you're right, missed field goal, woulda, coulda, shoulda, but we lost, and we've lost again tonight. And the one tonight was it was much more frustrating in a much different way, right? I think we can all agree on that. So tomorrow will be another day. We'll be fine, and we can still, we could still win out and go 10-2. But
we could. And I guess my big the big stickler for me is, if let's say we are plateauing and we need to not necessarily hit a reset button, but guys, this is our guy. I mean, who else are we going to go out and go get? I sure as hell don't want James Franklin coming to lead the balls. I mean, we don't. You got to give the guy some time. Granted, it's his 5th year. I get it, but we're trending in the right direction. And I remember the Derek Dooley years, the Pruitt years. Hell, I was in school for the Pruitt years, and again, it's a difficult loss. It's a tough pill to swallow, but I don't see anything but positive for the future for the Vols. I don't know. It just gets me kind of worked up to hearing some of the people, no one in their right mind was calling for Banks' head last year. And the defense walked us to a playoff appearance. It wasn't anything with the offense. I mean, I think we've got to give some time and just have faith.
Yeah.
Here's the biggest thing, and I think I can sum this up. And this is how I feel. And again, I have not called for a single person to be fired. And I said this several weeks ago. No, this would have been right after the Georgia loss. The only team I see that can stop Tennessee is themselves. And the biggest problem we have seen is that we're not getting beat by teams that I would view are purely better than us. I see us it's like the maximum. The team that makes the fewest mistakes will win. The problem is we're making the mistakes that just continue to put us behind the 8 ball. You can only shoot yourself in the foot so many times before it comes back to bite you. And that's what's leading to so much frustration by so much of Vol Nation. And again, people are going to express that frustration in a multitude of ways. And again, this is a fresh loss as far as still going through all the emotions. And that's why you're hearing some people say this. And there are some people that I genuinely believe do want to fire Tim Banks. I think that would be a mistake. Again, there are several reasons as to why the defense isn't exactly performing like they did last year. But right now, Tennessee just has to find ways to not hurt themselves, because it's not like we're letting these other teams beat us. We're doing it to us.
Yep. And I'll end on a kind of a lighthearted note. I'm a big Titans fan, and I can tell you what, I'm 10 times more excited to watch the Vols than I am the Titans. I mean, we're in a good spot. I get it's tough to watch some of these losses, and I agree with you 100%. We kind of shoot ourselves in the foot. But sometimes I think you've got to put that up against the players. I think someone said it earlier. Heupel didn't throw the pick 6 on the 2-yard line. Granted, he probably could have called a run call, but you get stopped, halftime, you're going to the half. But at the end of the day, players got to make plays. Heupel wasn't the one kicking against Georgia. Could he done a little bit of different stuff, clock management, time management type stuff? Sure. But at the end of the day, the players make the plays, and we could talk woulda, coulda, shouldas, hypotheticals all day long, but we could have been going this game undefeated, and this has been a top 5 matchup. So I just want to kind of bring the vision back to see how far we've come the past few years and keep everybody grounded. I mean, not 5 years ago, you couldn't convince me to go to Tuscaloosa and watch the Vols play Bama. And here I am doing it 2 times in a row. So that's all I got.
All right, Trey. Thanks, man. Appreciate the call.
On the Titans front, I will be there tomorrow. I actually think there will be more New England Patriots fans there than Titans fans. That's how far this franchise has fallen. I will not go into a diatribe, but they are one of the they are managed by the worst owner in professional sports. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I got scolded by Russ and Bear earlier in the week when I said they have supplanted the Browns as the most dysfunctional franchise in the NFL.
The hell out of here, Bob. You're wrong then. You're wrong now.
I think that's fair, Bob. I think that's a very fair point.
I think you're too close to it, Dave.
That's
you're too close to it.
Staring right at it.
We're not. I'm not taking any crap off of a Colts fan.
By the way, did you see Shohei Ohtani last night?
I got into it with a buddy of mine this morning. I saw him.
About what?
Ohtani. He came in just talking about he's the GOAT, the greatest ever. And how long's he been in the league? How many years?
It's almost 10 years now.
All I said was
8 or 9.
Yes, right now, currently, he's doing stuff that's not been done before.
Mm-hmm.
But let's not act like he's one of the immortals. And I said, yet. Although when you say that to people nowadays, because it's the same people, it ties all back into this. Everybody wants to fire their damn coach. It's just instant gratification society we live in, and just wanting to, he's the greatest ever. Well, yeah, I don't know. Is he? Is he Tony Gwynn? I don't know. Is he the professor?
He's much
Hank
better.
Aaron? I don't know, man. You're going to have to do more than a few years. You have to have the longevity of, is he Ted Williams?
Better.
Oh,
I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum. I think Shohei is the best athlete.
Yeah, you're also
across
like,
any sport.
Just started shaving
right
like 3 weeks ago. I have no doubt to you. He seems like he's the greatest ever.
I mean, it's like
He is.
pick your poison. You saw it the way he pitched, the 3 home runs, which looked like video game shots.
460. Oh.
And then also there's been a season where he stole 50 bases. I mean,
hit 50 bombs.
Yeah.
The only man that's ever done
I could sit here and look up like 4 or 5 players and recite their, I mean, especially baseball is filled with unbelievable things, unbelievable baseball statistics that are completely true.
Yeah.
Like the fact that the best 5 pitchers in Major League Baseball only struck out Tony Gwynn like 4 or 5 times. Anyhow, I don't want to get sidetracked.
Sorry, I just had to spend a minute talking about something that made me happy. Now let's get back to recapping the game.
Your Dodgers fandom has been Derek duly noted, as you know.
Yes, I know. All right, jumping back to the phone lines. Tyler.
Oh, sorry, Bob.
No, you're good. You're good. Tyler, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Well, been better, but we're getting through it tonight.
I hear you, man. That last caller, Trey, basically said everything that I was going to say to begin with. I'm 32, right? So I didn't really get deep into football until about 10, 11 in the 2000s. And I remember we did not have a 10-win season from 2008 to 2022. I mean, it was terrible. It was horrible. And to see where we are at now, I am very thankful. Now, I do think things need to change on some aspect, but people saying that, man, he just needs to go. He's Mark Ritt. You can say that, but we probably don't have a Kirby Smart walking through that door, right? So who would and I think it was mentioned earlier, it's systematic of a lot of fans just generally, they say, we need this gratification, we need to get this guy out of here. I think the expectations need to be toned back a little bit. That doesn't mean you're okay with losing, but be reasonable with what you expect. And as it was mentioned earlier, you look at this team at the beginning of the season, we were 24th ranked in the nation. Currently, we are ahead of the expectations that we have had this year, right? Or we're right in line with them. And like I said, that doesn't mean you're okay with losing. That doesn't mean you just settle. But people really need to pump the brakes, because if he were not here, I don't know where we would be, especially recruiting-wise with what he brings in. I live in Greensboro, so I get to see Faison play. And the fact we got him, I am hopeful for what's coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's fair. Another thing, and this was somebody on the live chat mentioned this, Jesse Smith, and it is fair. I talked about how he came in that first season, referring to Heupel, and did something that I couldn't even imagine he could do with that team and make him bowl eligible in his first season. And then 2022 happened. And I think the success of 2022 was so nuclear that I just think that just accelerated the expectation level, and I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. I'm not criticizing that. I think we felt like, okay, man, this guy has put us on the map and we are going to be very, very good. And so the evolution is just like you said, you grew up in a time where it was just shitty football, man. There's no question about it. And now, I think we had that 2022 season, and then 2023 and 2024. Last year we go to the playoffs. You just expect continued evolution. Getting to the playoffs this year, I think is going to be a hard proposition. I'm not saying it can't happen, but definitely going to have to probably win out. 3 losses is not going to get you in. I just firmly believe that. In a 16-team field, maybe, but not a 12-team field. And so I think that's where the frustration is. It's like, okay, we had that great leap between 21 and 22. And ever since then, it's been kind of more baby steps. And it's just, everybody gets impatient about it, myself included.
Nah, yeah, I mean, and I completely agree with that. Like watching the loss at Georgia, and not even the losses, right? So like some of these games that we played this year, you look and you say, man, you know what? We need to be, in my opinion, more disciplined, more prepared. And I think, you hear people say the players can't catch the ball, or the the coaches can't catch the ball, or the coaches can't tackle. But eventually it does come down to the coaches holding these players accountable, because we have the talent. And so I do agree with you there. Seeing them not really do what needs to be done in the places where it can be done consistently, that has to change. So I do agree with that.
Well, it looked like they held Kitzelman accountable. They put him on the bench. I understand why they can't bench any of the wide receivers, seeing as they don't have anybody behind them.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and this is my last thing here, and I'll let y'all go. Sam Pendleton, I don't know if this has been mentioned. If he hikes the ball again with no warning, I don't know what he is doing. But if we have another center, somebody who can get it right. I don't understand how he keeps making these mistakes.
Yeah,
he's played very well overall this year.
It's true. Tyler, thanks, man. Appreciate you checking in. We now have Joshy Boy on the line. Joshy, what's up?
Davey, how could you say that?
Which part, Joshy Boy? It's been a long night.
That Tim Banks shouldn't be fired. He should be fired at the end of the season. I don't know what we have all been watching, but the defense is complete shit.
Did you think he should have been fired after last year?
No.
What's changed from this year to last year?
Did you not see his defense 2 years ago before last year?
Mm-hmm. And he made them a lot better. Whenever they had more players. Do you think this defense would be better if you had your 2 starting cornerbacks?
Would they still be giving up 3rd and longs?
Probably not. I don't think wide receivers would be getting that far open if you had your 2 starting cornerbacks, Joshy Boy.
You still got to play with what you got, Davey. Next man up.
Oh my God, Joshy Boy! Listen, little on edge. Listen, I'm not trying to be personal here. This is new college football. You don't have depth at positions. Yeah. We got Ty Redmond out there, true freshman. They're taking advantage of it.
Then why didn't we do anything about it in the portal?
We didn't know we were going to be dead. We lost. Joshy Boy, when Jermod tore his ACL was after portal season.
That.
Whenever Ricky Gibson got hurt was first game of the season. You've got your money tied up into 2 of those guys. After that happens, what do you expect to do?
Guys,
you got. I mean, you're trying to get these guys ready. And again,
this is all on Banks, but we just don't have the athletes on defense. I'm sorry, I didn't do it.
I mean, I'm answering your questions. You said that he should be fired after this performance. We held him. Alabama scored 28 points tonight on as far as like against our defense. If I were to tell you that before the game, did you think Tennessee had a really good chance to win if Alabama only scores 28 points?
Yes, I would say we had a really good chance to win. But what happened to the play call coming out of the timeout before halftime? Joey throwing the pick 6.
Threw it behind him. I don't like the decision to put the ball in the air right there. I would have ran it and rather have just the clock ran out. We could bitch about the time management situation there, but I would have at least rather have just done that with how Bishop was playing.
Right. Guys, I know Heupel, he wants to play buddy-buddy with his assistants, but you got to fire your coaches if they're not doing a good job. You just got to.
Josh, boy, we are the 11th going into today. We're the 11th ranked team in the country. You're coming off a college football playoff performance where unfortunately you got matched up and you had to play the best team in the country. And it obviously showed some of the flaws, but you look at it and they have a lot more money whenever it comes to that. I don't know many other teams that have the 11th ranked team are coming off the playoffs and are just making decisions. You could argue Penn State, but James Franklin had been there for 12 years. 12 years, and it got to a point to where he lost by 2 games where he was a 20-point favorite. When Josh Heupel does that, they can clean house, and I won't have a problem with it.
But we should win games with the schedule we have. This is probably the easiest schedule we've had for the last 2 seasons.
I agree with that. And what I will say is right now, at least you have beaten the teams you're supposed to beat. Vegas said you should lose to Georgia. They said you should lose to Alabama.
Yep. True. So what do we think about going forward in the season? So do we like our chances against Oklahoma at home? Do we end the streak in Gainesville? Because I'm worried when Vandy comes here with what they got on offense. I'm really worried.
I think, we've been talking about that, Josh. I think speaking for myself, realistically, it's like I'd love it to see it happen, but I don't see us winning out. I think somewhere along the line, I know Roberto said earlier, Vandy coming to Knoxville should be an easy win, even though they're good. Just because they're coming to Knoxville, these guys, man, they believe. They say what you want about Diego Pavia, but he's got that team believing, man, and they're showing it on the field. That team worries me too. Oklahoma, I think Davey mentioned earlier, they could have a few more losses by the time they come into Knoxville.
I didn't catch much of the Oklahoma game. How did Material look today from what he did last week?
I just saw his statistical line. It didn't jump off the page or anything. I just, they actually had a running game for once. They had a running back that got over 100 yards rushing, which is a rarity for them. Bigger issue there is it's fallen apart in Columbia, South Carolina, man. That's a mess.
Yeah. I don't know what to make from that game. I don't like what South Carolina has been able to do it all this year. So I'm not surprised with the outcome.
Yeah. But
go ahead, Bob.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, and we, like you said, Davey, we expected probably to lose to Georgia and Alabama, but we had Georgia in Neyland. The thing about Georgia is you got to punch them in the mouth and make sure they're finished. You just can't get conservative at the end. And I'm sorry, guys. I just hope we go 10-2 at the end of the season and make the playoffs. Have a great night.
Thank you, Joshy. This has been something I've been saying to Davey. I'd love to get your take on this. I've been saying it all week, and I think you even alluded to it a little bit earlier. But I've been saying in this world of college football being the way it is, I know everybody's cannibalizing each other, but with Tennessee, I'm not sure 10-2 is a guarantee to get you into the playoffs this season, particularly when the 2 highest ranked teams you've played are losses. I just worry about that.
Yeah. What's crazy about that, Bob, I agree with you. You don't have many quality wins on it. And honestly, the best thing is right now, 10-2, you got to hope 9-3. I don't even think it's a conversation, but if you are Tennessee, what you need Vanderbilt to win out. You yourself win out and hope they only have 1 loss. And that's a top 10 team that you then beat at the end of the season to boost your overall record and resume up.
Yeah. Yeah. It's hard. It's just, that's the part that just blows my mind. That is college football in a nutshell, that Tennessee Vanderbilt game is going to likely have so much weight to it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, and I mean, last year I know we struggled at the beginning against them. It's also just one of those things. I'm curious to see if Pavia, with the way he plays, if he's able to stay healthy.
Yeah.
Because that's another big factor for him. Like he got beat up along the way last year, and with some of the teams they have left to play, that very well could be the case.
Okay. We have a special guest. Distinguished alum of Fan Run Radio. Good friend of ours. He knows a few people. Works for Outkick as well. So he's a colleague of Davies. It's Trey Wallace, who has decided to slum it with us. Trey, what's happening, man? Been a while.
Not much. I kind of miss these conversations. I used to. You guys know me. When I'm always working, I get back to the room. I'm always turning on voluntary reaction if the timing works out right. So, yeah, it's always a pleasure. And goodness gracious, it's been a newsworthy day for Tennessee athletics outside of what was even transpiring in Tuscaloosa as I sat there and watched Danny White pace the sideline tonight in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, well, I would say so. Let's two-part this. Let's get your take first on the game a little bit and your thoughts, and then maybe take a minute or two, and because it feels like that story is going to still unravel a little more in the next couple of days on Tony. But let's start with the game. What are your thoughts on what happened? There's a lot of fans that are upset, obviously. I mean, myself included, Davey included, Walker included. What was your takeaway from what you saw in Tuscaloosa?
I think this is a football team that shoots itself in the foot a lot, and when you have an opportunity like that, right there at the end of the first half. I think there were 3 seconds left on the clock. And I even had to take a double take. I looked up and I saw Tennessee didn't have any timeouts around the 13-second mark. And I was like, oh boy, this one could get interesting here. And what threw me off about it, guys, and I posted a video of the interception that Joey Aguilar threw, and Tennessee didn't space things out down there. That's what threw me off about the play call. You were pretty much still lined up in a bunch. I mean, sure, you had one wide receiver flanking, and I think it was Kitzelman that went out in motion. But just talk about a play that sucked the ever-living life out of a football team. And I give Tennessee a lot of credit. Like, it came back in the third quarter, put a touchdown on the board. I thought that, a lot of teams – take a look at what happened last week at Auburn. Okay, when that situation at the goal line happens, everybody's losing their mind. Hugh Freeze is losing his mind, and Auburn goes into halftime. Hugh Freeze was talking as if he was at the at the morgue. I mean, there's no other way to put it around it. And so, I think the way that Tennessee responded, I give them credit. But then you look at it, Alabama was just able to put together sustained drives in the second half. Take the clock out of it. Tennessee did continue running the football, which is fascinating in a lot of ways because Tennessee, in my opinion, likes to get pass happy when they get down, at least 2 possessions. And so, there are things you can take away from this game and look at it and be like, all right, like there was some growth. And I was talking to somebody before the game about Joey Aguilar. This was really his true first big college football game on the road. And I mean that as in, sure, we know what he did at his previous stops. But going into a primetime, high-caliber matchup like this, and so I'm not taking up for Joey and some of his decisions, but what I am saying is that all of this shouldn't lay at the hands of Joey when it comes to the offense. I think Josh Heupel has a problem right now. I think he's gotten too conservative with his play calling. I think he's put the offense in some rough spots. I think if you hooked him up to a lie detector test, he'd probably tell you the same darn thing. And I think on the other side of the ball, I've been listening to you guys as I sit here and write. I just got back to the hotel a little bit ago, and the defense. I mean, now it's just more or less, hey, man, this is normal type of thing. Like Alabama had 10, 15 yards across the middle all night if they wanted it, all night long. And you know, the secondary had their moments, but at the same time, you look at it and you're like, damn, same old thing from Tennessee on that side. But there were also times where, you know, that I think it was the second quarter, if I'm not mistaken, Alabama was backed up on their own 1 yard line. And, you know, Tennessee defense got after Ty. He was probably a half a second early enough, or Tennessee would have had a safety on Ty Simpson. So, like, what I'm getting at is I understand the frustration with the defensive side. But when you look at what the offensive side is doing and put in the defensive side in some bad situations, you kind of got to throw your hands up and be like, all right, well, Josh Heupel could be helping a lot more than he is with his play calling. So I think that, yeah, sure, everyone is going to lose their minds about Tim Banks. And I can't say, look, if you're a Tennessee fan out there listening, and that's probably the only ones, unless the people that are out there just wanting to gloat and listen, I would say that, yes, this unit has a problem and they need a reset. But also at the same time, I don't think when you'd come into the season and you just said, okay, your secondary is not going to have Rob McCoy, you're not going to have Ricky Gibson, and you got to rely on a guy named Colton Hood, who nobody really had any idea about, but quietly behind the scenes, Tennessee coaches were like, okay, we're not going to have McCoy right now. We don't know what Gibson, but we got Colton Hood. Like, he was kind of a sleeper for this staff. So I just think overall, guys, Tennessee has a decent amount of problems, but, and there's a big but at the end of this, Bob, at least you're not somebody like Auburn right now, where for the third straight year in a row, you were 0-4 to start SEC play. You're not somebody like South Carolina, who, by God, Lord, I was writing and talking about South Carolina and potential CFP before the season started.
Right.
And they got waxed by Oklahoma today with a one-handed quarterback. So I guess, you know, what I'm getting at, man, it's not all that bad, even though you lose to Alabama for the 23rd straight year in Tuscaloosa, and that's still astonishing to me. But I do think, you know, this team has the opportunity to be 9-3. I don't think they can run the table from here. I'm just being honest with you, but they do have an opportunity to be 9-3 and at least be in the conversation at the season's end.
Trey, to your point on, you know, Josh Heupel not doing enough, one of the things, and we haven't gotten into it much tonight, but it's something we talked about, especially after the Georgia game. I didn't like that play call. I've been on record for right before the end of the half. When this offense gets into the red zone, they obviously struggle because the passing attack is going to have problems spreading things out as far as being able to take that deep shot. But when you are there, I don't understand why we do not throw more jump ball opportunities to Chris Brazzell. That is something where it's like, you look at that guy and it's like, hey, he's moved into that conversation of he could be at the tail end of the first round in the NFL draft next year with what we've seen him do. He's 6'5". Alabama doesn't have a cornerback that's going to be able to do that. Instead of trying to pack everything in like we did and throw an outbreaking route that, if your quarterback is off, does give you that potential for a pick six and can ultimately seal the game, given the environment, how things are going. Don't put your guys in that position. And I mean, Joey, it was a 2-point conversion, which they should not have gone for later, but Joey put the ball in harm's way there too. Fortunately, they weren't able to run that back for the 2 points, but it's like, give Brazzell more opportunities. Like, he is a guy that at the next level, it's like you can force feed him the ball. And I don't think we're doing a good job of making sure he's getting the necessary targets. And that's
what amazes me, brother. Like it really does. There was a play in the third quarter. Tennessee had the ball just over the 50-yard line. They were driving. It was third down. And it was the play that Mike Matthews dropped the football. But well, I know. I'm sorry. I'm trying to narrow this down here. But what I'm getting at is Brandon Staley was, and I have the video and I'll send it to you, David, later on. Brandon Staley was wide open down the seam, wide open by 15 yards. He'd have walked in for the touchdown. So, at times I wonder if Joey, because of the offensive scheme and because it is kind of difficult at times, if he's relying on maybe his go-tos a little bit more than, in my opinion, tossing it up to somebody like Chris Brazil to be able to just go up, like you said, and make a play along the sideline. And so I do think it's a little bit more complicated than usual in this sense. But, I go back to it again. Like, Tennessee drove down the field right before halftime and had an opportunity to either, put a field goal up or they scored the touchdown, and, shit happens, and so I don't know. I just think it sucked the life out of the Tennessee team for that moment. But I think also for them to come back and do what they did. I just, look, Josh Heupel, Davey, we've had these conversations about college football for the last 8 weeks, and looking around the country at different teams and the spots that they're in right now. And I think that even going back to that Georgia game, I thought Josh Heupel got too conservative. You look at the Arkansas game, I thought Josh Heupel got too conservative in the fourth quarter, almost cost Tennessee a win. And now you look at in this one, where just some of his play calling, man, is really fascinating to me. And I think that, at the end of the day, you got to be able to rely on your guys that are going to at least have the shot to make a play, brother. And it strikes my chord a little bit that in curiosity that they aren't giving Brazil more opportunities. I don't care if you're double teaming him. If Alabama's going to double team him, that's fine. But that means somebody's open. That means somebody's at least got 5 yards on the defender. And maybe that's just a progression thing from Joey Aguilar. But, I would say Tennessee and their defensive unit, I mean, damn, guys, they've been down some guys too. And you look at it overall, you're getting what you can get out of a squad that has secondary problems, had line of scrimmage problems with players being out up until, a week or two ago. And you ran into an Alabama team that's just damn good. This is an Alabama football team that has risen from the ashes ever since that Florida State loss. 4th straight win against a ranked opponent. It would have been 5 if South Carolina just hadn't fumbled the entire season for next week. So, I would say the world is not ending, but at the same time, you do have reasons to kind of question what Heupel's doing at the moment.
Is it amazing to you, like it is to me, to think that the game at the end of the season against Vanderbilt,
I know where you're going,
could be a play-in game, essentially?
It does, and here's the reason why. I'm writing an article right now, and I've written it every damn weekend since the season started about how chaotic this is. And it's also just a beautiful mess that college football is this year. How about Texas Tech's $30 million roster going and getting beaten by a 2-loss Arizona State team today? I could go on and on. Look at Miami. Miami looked pedestrian on Friday night against Louisville. What I'm getting at is every weekend brings something different. You look at the loss and you're like, all right, well, Tennessee would probably have to win out, but as we've seen, anything can happen on these Saturdays. So if you're sitting around there, maybe 9-3, something like that, but maybe they're close losses if you catch 2 more, which I'm starting to look at the schedule a little bit for, like in Tennessee's case. I'm sitting here going over the entire SEC schedule right now. And in Tennessee's case, sure, you got to go on the road to Florida, but Florida should have lost to Mississippi State today, or Florida should at least been lined up on special teams as Mississippi State's about to kick a field goal to win the game.
That's what I was saying too. Yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? And even Oklahoma, Oklahoma looked pedestrian against Texas and saved me with the whole John Mateer thumb injury nonsense because they decided to put him out there and play. So then you go on the road and they play South Carolina. So, sure, I'm going here. Everything is just pure madness. And to your point, Davey knows this. I've been preaching on Vanderbilt since they started the year 2-0. This is a different team. Like, they might not have the 2 deep like others have across college football, but they damn sure got 11 on each squad. They're going on each side that are going to cause problems for teams. And now, I'll throw this one at you. Like, what if you were in LSU spot? Like, LSU sitting here right now wondering why in God's name did we hire Brian Kelly? What have we gotten out of the Brian Kelly hire? Like, you go on the road, you lose to Vanderbilt. Pretty much your CFP opportunities here are slipping because I think A&M's going to march into Baton Rouge next week and beat down on the Tigers, and they'll have their third loss of the season. So, yeah, I mean, it is wild to think that the end of November is going to present. Hopefully Diego Pavia is healthy. Man, he can't take many more hits like he's taking, but at the same time, excuse me. And it was also fascinating that Pavia wasn't made available to the media today. I'm still trying to get to the bottom of that. How the hell that happened where the guy that wins the game for you was, quote, not able to be there for the post-game media sessions today in Nashville. But, yeah, it's going to be – look, man, if Tennessee's in a spot where they're in contention, and when I say in contention, top 18 in the country type of team, and Vanderbilt's still hanging around, with an opportunity to go to the playoffs, it's going to be madness to end the year. And, I think that if we get to that point and that opportunity presents itself for both squads, my goodness, what a game that'll be.
Trey, switching up and talking about some of the coaches in the sport, do Billy Napier and Hugh Freeze coach their teams next game?
I'm so like this Hugh Freeze nonsense, man. Like, look, it's public knowledge. I have 2 little brothers that went to Auburn, so our group text is, like a therapy session every single weekend because Auburn just continues to find different ways to lose games. Like, God bless them. At least they're making this damn thing entertaining. But man, that football program, David, we talked privately about this, man. Like, they gave Hugh Freeze everything he needed after last offseason, and they said, go win right now. That's what they did. They gave him enough NIL. They gave him one last chance is pretty much what I'm trying to get at here. And I talked to somebody, a Board of Trustees member for Auburn before the season started. And I said, straight up, how many wins does Hugh Freeze have to have this season for him to come back? And they told me 8. Okay, well, look at where they're at right now. Yeah. Hugh Freeze does not deserve, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people would agree with this, to be the head coach at Auburn. I wonder why, if he is on Monday morning, there's only one scenario to it why you would be. It's because they just don't want to make the move right then, or as John Cohen, the athletic director, said, I guess his damn car is having problems mechanically, and they can't figure out when to fire him. And then the Billy Napier situation, I was texting with a number of boosters and folks inside that athletic department after the game tonight. And the one thing that did stand out to me is Billy Napier's post game. I don't know if you guys have probably seen the clips or not. I think my buddy Andy Staples was there and a couple others. Graham Hall was there, but I went back and wrote on it too because I didn't watch it. He looked like a man that knew come Sunday afternoon there's a really good chance he wouldn't have a job. And, there's precedent for it. We saw Jimbo Fisher in 2023 in Texas A&M beat Mississippi State 53-10, and he was fired the next day. There are enough pissed off boosters around Gainesville and around the country, that donate money to Florida that are sick and tired of this. And I'll just be straight with you. I had one person tell me this. This is a high money folk. If they'd have lost tonight to Mississippi State the way that they lost, right after that press conference was over, they'd have pulled Billy Napier into a side room and said, that's it. It's done. Probably would have got the same treatment as James Franklin got, according to him, at Penn State, where he was told before the team was to take the field for practice on that Sunday. That is a mess in Gainesville, guys. And the fact that, and I can't, let me say this too. Fans pay a lot of damn money to be able to go to these games. If they want to boo, if they want to cheer, if they want to cuss at a PG level sense, they can do whatever they want to do because they're funding this nonsense. And, if you're a Tennessee fan driving home or you're listening to this after the game tonight, well, at least you're not the Florida Gators. At least you're not the Auburn Tigers.
That's right.
And at least you're not South Carolina. I'll keep saying it again. Like, life could be a hell of a lot worse than it is right now. And I think there are a number of teams around the country that need to have that perspective. And so, yeah, Davey, I think just a gut feeling, when I join you guys on Monday or whatnot, I think we'll be talking about at least one head coach, another one opening, and potentially one with Auburn if John Cohen decides to make the move down on the Plains. But also, I mean, Mr. Yellowwood down there, Jimmy Rain, is so pissed off at the football program and how it's going. That wouldn't surprise me either. And then, if you're a Wisconsin fan and somehow listening to this, sounds like from what I'm told after the game, they don't want to make a move on Luke Fickell, so it looks like you might be stuck with him for a little while.
Wow.
Ouch.
All right,
Yeah.
Trey, one more, part 2, and then we got to wrap. We still got
Here
one
we
more
go.
caller. Yeah, just a minute or two, because, again, there's a lot that still needs to be resolved. But, I mean, just your top-line thoughts on this situation with Tony Vitello, because depending upon who you talk to, it sounds like it could be fait accompli, but Tony's saying he doesn't have an offer yet, but that doesn't mean he's not going to get an offer and all this other stuff.
Tony's got an offer.
Yeah.
Tony's got an offer. Tony had an offer when he, 2 days after he interviewed with San Francisco.
Yeah.
This whole thing is kind of complicated, so we might have to go more than 2 minutes. Give me 4 minutes at least.
Go.
I think this has been, there's two parts. I think this has been building for a minute. Okay. I'm just talking about Tennessee and Tony Vitello, the athletic department and Tony Vitello. I think when you look at the Major League Baseball side of this, it's always been a bucket list thing for Tony V. He wanted an opportunity to coach in the majors. And you guys know this, if you follow the sport well enough, or you follow Major League Baseball, which I'll be straight and honest with you guys, I could care less about Major League Baseball. I never got into it. Whatever, not the point. You can't turn down a chance for something like this. And I think the entire situation is a little bit complicated because of the timing. Okay, you're sitting here and it's October 19th right now, and you might be having to worry about your baseball coach leaving. And then at the same time, I think how the news got out there today probably pissed. Like I said this to somebody tonight. If Tony kind of screwed himself in one sense of this, and I'm just talking about from a PR standpoint, not his personal life, whatever. If he'd have just said 2 weeks ago or whenever it was, when they were down in Chattanooga, which, by the way, the Giants and him had already had communication, if he'd have just put it out there and said, hey, look, guys, I've always been honest with y'all. I'm talking about the media that was covering it. I've always been honest. Don't want to lie to you guys and say that there's really nothing to it. It's always been a bucket thing for me. It's a dream of mine to coach in Major League Baseball. I think the conversation around all this would be a little bit different. I think there would be, but unfortunately, and this is what happens. Like, you got Jimmy Sexton over here telling Tony, don't say a word. Say as little as you have to about the situation. Also, because they don't want Tennessee's athletic department to know potentially how far down the road they are. When there were reports out there that, Tony wasn't interviewing in the Major League Baseball team. He was down in Bradenton, Florida recruiting. Well, guys, you can be somewhere in the morning and be somewhere in the afternoon. That's the luxury of having airplane travel. So I do think that I hesitate to even say this. There's a slight chance that Tony's sitting on the couch right now, pondering a decision and being like, let's run it back. Let's do it again. Maybe not. This is right. Maybe this is not the right time. But 80% of me in talking with folks just feels like he's going to end up taking it, because how do you turn down Major League Baseball if that is your true dream? Like that, and that's just as plain as I can put it. I think that, judging by some comments from some, and I'm not going to get into the comments fully, but judging by some comments from the Tennessee folks, they think they're going to be just fine heading into the future. if Tony Vitello decides to move on to the Major League Baseball world. I guess I didn't feel like telling some folks on the spot that you guys are batshit crazy. Like, you're still going to be a powerhouse in college baseball if Tony V moves on. Let me make that clear. But you have never had a promoter of your athletic department, university, the brand. You can't find me somebody that's been better for Tennessee, probably dating back to the Bruce Pearl days in basketball. What he has been able, he is a voice. The way he is always representing his employer, but at the same time, how he has been able to captivate college baseball over the last number of years at Tennessee, that's something you're not going to be able to replace. And there's a swagger about Tennessee baseball because of who their coach is. And I'm not saying that Josh Elander couldn't do the same thing on the interim basis and having Ross Tevitt around, and who knows what Frank, would decide to do. But, there's a lot of shit behind the scenes that personally, this is me personally speaking, that I think Tony Vitello would like to wash his hands of a little bit. And at the same time, when I say that, I say this: Tony Vitello is an Italian, and my man loves to argue. He'll argue about how many pepperoni should be on that pizza. He will argue about a parking spot on campus. Tony Vitello, if he has a problem, he's going to let somebody know about it. So I think there has been some friction, and that is putting it very, very mildly, between him and some university folk over the last couple of years. And I'm not saying that is a reason why this is happening. Please do not go on social media and say that type of shit. But what I am saying is that
Trey Wallace reporting.
No kidding. When we get down to it, guys, I just think there is going to be a situation where that he probably ends up taking it. And I'm not reporting it. That's just my personal feeling on it. But at the same time, Bob, I could see him making a hasty decision at 3:00 this morning, saying, "Oh no, I'm just going to stay. I don't want to deal with 160 games a year, and I can't run things like I run things at Tennessee," which he does, by the way. Like, Tennessee's hands off, and they also do that in the sense of Tennessee lost a lot of money last year on baseball. That is $6 to $7 million. So it's not as if Tennessee hasn't done enough for him, but there's just always been something that's going on between the administration side and Vitello since he's been here. And, so it just wouldn't surprise me. It's a chaotic, the whole thing is a little weird, but I think at the end of the day, I'll leave it at this. Be excited for your head coach that gets an opportunity to go to the major leagues, and just appreciate what he did. And Tennessee's good enough now, they'll go out and, if they have to, find somebody that can take over the program.
That's it.
Oh, wow.
That's it. This guy, for anybody who's listening, if you weren't familiar with Trey Wallace, you better be now. This guy is as good as it gets when it's covering
Just does
college
incredible
sports.
work.
You can follow.
And I really wanted, I'd really like, maybe we'll do like an uncensored podcast in the next couple of days or something like that.
Yeah.
There's going to be more that comes to light about stuff. And I don't think that should take away from really the bare bones of breaking down this whole story, is that it's an opportunity to go be a Major League Baseball coach.
Yeah.
And I think that, to me, stands out more than anything else. And, in 2 years, if he sucks in the MLB or he absolutely hates it and he wants to make a return to college baseball, sure, the worst case scenario
I'll be waiting for him.
Horn retired and Arkansas opens up and he goes and takes that job. But, I guess if that were to happen, I'd imagine Tennessee would fire whoever the sitting head coach is at that moment and say, "Hey, Tony, your desk is still ready for you."
That's it.
Mm-hmm.
The one glimmer of hope I can give is, you look at the situations where that's happened. In the SEC, Florida, Billy Donovan leaves to go to the NBA. They eventually win a national championship in basketball. LSU, Nick Saban leaves to go to the Dolphins. LSU wins multiple national championships with multiple head coaches after that. And then the same can also be said, Steve Spurrier leaves Florida to go to the NFL, and the Redskins. Florida also wins national championships in football after that. So that's like the one little
They're a
positive spin
powerhouse.
I can put on that.
Well, they're a powerhouse. Tennessee baseball is a powerhouse, and Tennessee baseball has already made Tony Vitello the second highest paid coach in the country. The only reason he's not the highest paid is because Jay Johnson just won a title, and he got a pay raise. And I've had text messages of people, saying, "Oh, this is some big infight because of NIL and rev share money between the women's basketball team and baseball." Guys, every coach on campus wants more money for their program. Okay, every program. If you're giving $100 more to Tim Caldwell, there's going to be some type of argument because of that. You know what I mean? That's just where we are in this sport. And I could say that for every school in college athletics right now, in every different program. They all want more money. But the best thing about it has been for Tony is that, if you really, really need something, all you got to do is call Larry Pratt. So I'm fascinated to see how this plays out. I know that this is a gut-wrenching experience for Tony. I know it is. And it's a decision he doesn't make lightly. But, shit happens. Opportunities come at crazy times. And for him, I don't know how you turn it down if that's something that you really want to do.
Yeah, the only thing I can say there is I hope Tony has the biggest ego in the world, because if that is the case, no one's going to give a shit if he's walking down the street in San Francisco and they're like, "Oh, that's Tony Vitello." He walks down the street and everyone wants to know and take a picture with you. So it's like, if his ego is as big as hopefully I want it to be for him, I think that bodes well for Tennessee. But like you said, Trey,
Guys, he's the hottest coach in the country. And I don't mean that from a look standpoint. That's a good looking man. But what I'm saying is, he goes on a recruiting trip. You know who Tony Vitello is when they show up at the high school baseball games. You go on the road to Baton Rouge or Austin, Texas, or Columbia, Missouri, or Arkansas, wherever, there's extra juice in the opposing team because Tony Vitello is the head coach. So it's like, yeah, his ego's big, but damn, he's earned the ego, and at the same time, if you know him, you know that he's a down-to-earth dude that, just wants the best. And I agree, man. It'll be a little bit different if he decides to do it at the next level, because he's not going to be, in San Francisco. Yeah, no, I agree, Davey, 100%. Shows up at the local coffee house. People aren't looking for autographs. You know what I mean? Like, it's just an average Joe. So, yeah, I know it'll be tough for Tennessee fans if that moment does arise in the next 24 hours, which I would imagine the decision would probably come by noon tomorrow. And I'll leave it at this. I don't think, I understand people try to come on me on social media for a tweet I put out today, and I don't think they really understood it, and maybe I didn't put it out there the right way. But Ken Rosenthal and Jeff Passan don't work on college football schedules when it comes to reporting news. Okay. But I will say that if that news comes to them from a certain person, they have the opportunity on when to report it. I'm not saying, I'm saying if it came, Sunday morning or Friday night, there's a little bit of a difference in there. So I'm just, I think you understand what I'm talking about when I say that agents do things in certain ways, and his agent was in Athens, Georgia today watching his other client, Lane Kiffin, while at the same time probably shooting off a couple text messages to Rosenthal and Passan.
Yep.
So.
Trey, we love you, man. Appreciate you spending some time with us. Always enlightening stuff. And yeah, man, speaking for Russ, I'm sure sometime this week or sometime soon, we got to get you on the drive again, catch up. It's been too long.
No, I look forward to it. And we definitely will. We'll have more to talk about, I think, and probably some stuff moving around in college football. Potentially Tennessee naming Josh Elander, the interim head coach, potentially. This week. And guys, it's always a pleasure. Hope y'all have a wonderful night. Sorry about y'all's loss, but I think y'all will be okay, and I think you'll go to Kentucky next week, and I think Tennessee will win. I think I heard Davies' 5-alarm fire about going to Lexington. Well, Kentucky tried to beat Texas
Playing
tonight.
scenarios.
Pretty much like their Super Bowl. I know what you were doing. I deal with you.
I will say, you mentioned Nylander, Trey. The good news is at least it's not Stephen Pearl.
Yeah. Shit. Yeah, y'all are lucky that it's not nepotism that's taken over at Tennessee. So if that's the case and how it comes down. But yeah, guys, I appreciate you y'all having me. And Stanford is beating Florida State 20-13 with what is this, like 2 minutes to go in the game, and
could be another job open, right?
Guys, that's what I'm trying to tell folks. Like, people are tripping out. I get it. You're upset. You lost to Alabama, but shit, man, you could be Florida State right now. I mean, this season just went by the wayside after they got beat by Virginia. Now they're losing to a football team that's ran by Andrew Luck. So what does that tell you?
Yeah, but they at least beat Alabama. That's more than we can say.
Yeah. I knew you'd probably take it somewhere after I said that. So, but it is what it is. There'll be a lot more teams that lose to Alabama this season. Don't worry.
All right, brother, you be good. We'll talk again soon. Thanks again, Trey.
Safe travels home,
have a great night. Thank y'all.
All right, I think, Walker, we have one more caller. I think we had one that was patient.
Yeah, we got one more on the line, and then we'll send out the last call and do some final thoughts.
Exactly. So let's say hello to Dan, who has been patiently waiting. Dan, welcome to the Voluntary Reaction. What's on your mind?
How's it going, gentlemen?
Yeah,
we're doing all right.
Better than 2 hours ago.
Yeah, I'm just thanks for taking the call. I know it's late out there. I'm out on the West Coast watching a team that beat the brakes off Alabama, about to possibly lose to Stanford. So
yeah, that's what a year.
That makes sense.
I know.
Yeah. Well, it's I gotta say it's a little tough to follow the great Trey Wallace, but I'll do my best. I was talking to my dad at halftime, my dad and my uncle, and we were really there were two big mistakes, unfortunately, by Joey Football that cost 9 points there at halftime. I've only been tuning in since I've called pretty much, and so I don't know if this has already been said, but that safety on Aguilar was really, I mean, the right tackle was backing up right into him.
Yeah, Jesse Perry.
And yeah, I mean, I know he's got his eyes downfield, which is great, but that pocket presence there is a little concerning, no?
Yeah. A little bit. I was watching with my wife at that point, and she was like, well, it wasn't his fault, right? It was like, no, it was, it was a team effort, but yeah, it was, that was a tough one to watch, man. And like Davey had said earlier, you may not have heard that one, Dan, but they got backed up, namely because of a penalty that was called on Staley, on OPI, where we had a completion to Brazel, but then they backed us up, and it was just kind of a comedy of errors at that point. We had moments like that throughout the game, little pockets of just nonsense,
Right. Yeah. And speaking of Brazel, I was happy to see they put up a stat line in the first quarter. It wasn't too far into the game where he had already had 3 catches for, I don't know, a good amount of yards. And I remember, earlier in the week listening to The Drive talking about, if we're going to win this game, Brazel's going to need 150, 10 catches for 2 touchdowns. And when I saw that stat line in the first quarter, I'm like, okay, all right, we're on track for that. And then I don't know if I had heard his name called for the next 2 quarters, maybe.
Yeah,
so
second, third.
Like you were making good effort going to him early, and then it just sort of fell off there for a while.
Yeah, it's that was frustrating, and then conversely, we talked about this on The Drive too, that we were worried that would this be the game that Ryan Williams got well. And he did, it felt like whenever he got his hands on the ball, he was doing whatever he wanted, accounted for over 100 yards total offense. It was just, God, so many things, man. We could do a laundry list of things that kind of went wrong tonight.
Yeah. But I think I'm with you guys, or definitely Davey, at least, on Tim Banks and the defense. I don't remember who said it. a couple weeks ago, maybe. I don't know if it was on VR or on the drive, but it might have been Russell that said, "Find me a fan base that is happy with their defensive coordinator." And I think that's really wise. And yes, the defense is not performing as well as it was last year. That was we had generational talent on last year's defense, and it's just not there this year with Jermon McCoy out, unfortunately. But they really have stepped up, and they've taken a lot of pressure off of the offense, several times this year. And it seems like the offense is not capitalizing on a lot of opportunities that the defense has given them. And I don't know if we can say that the other way around.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Alabama, they took advantage today. We took our one and only turnover that we had, and you're set up at midfield. You don't do anything with it. You have to punt the ball away. The same thing happened last week against Arkansas. You weren't able to capitalize there. And fortunately, the turnovers you had in Mississippi State, you forced against Mississippi State, the defense just went ahead and returned those to the house, to where it's like you didn't have to worry about putting the offense back out there.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It's too bad because I think the offense could really get us over the hump in a lot of these games. But it just seems like, the defense, in my opinion, unpopular opinion, it sounds like amongst the rest of the fan base, but I think the defense is really, they're serviceable, even maybe more than serviceable in a lot of games so far. And it seems like the offense has a little bit of a hump to get over. Joey's been great. He's hitting great deep balls that we didn't really, take a lot of opportunities in that regard tonight. But it seems like we're right there offensively. I mean, the defense is what it is, but they're getting us through a lot of tough situations. And is there more to be desired? I suppose, but I don't know. It's just the game that we're in these days in 2025, I guess. So.
Oh man. Yeah. It's, this was tough, man. That's all there's no two ways around it. Anything else, Dan, as we wrap up here?
Just real quick. So what is the game that we're most worried about for the rest of the season? I'm thinking Florida in the swamp. I don't know about you guys.
That's still number one for me, just because I'm kind of like in the same position with Florida as I am Alabama. Whenever it comes to the road games, I'll believe we can win once I see it happen. 03 and 04 respectively, as far as the last time you got wins against those schools on the road. But with just the way, you look, hopefully we perform much better at home versus Oklahoma and Vandy. But both those games, I see those coming down to the wire. Those are going to be one possession games. And do you just find a way to where it's like you're not making those mistakes that ultimately hurt you? Because again, it's not been so much we've just let the other teams dominate us. We've continued to just have these moments where we put ourselves in at such a disadvantage, we just can't overcome it.
Yeah. Davey, you and me, we're about the same age, so I think we have the same sort of unfortunate memories about Florida. Yeah. So, and it's funny because Vandy and OU, they're probably the two better teams out of those three. But yeah, I'm most worried about Florida actually. So anyway, all right, you guys have a good night. Go Vols.
Thank you, Dan. I would say, if you haven't gotten the gist of it, I'm less worried about Florida for some odd reason, and I'll probably live to regret it. But I'm more worried about, again, just the timing and the magnitude of that Vandy game, them coming in and wrecking our season. I mean, God, that would be the worst way to end a season ever.
I feel you, Bob. It's just so much location based for me, just because I at least know it's like, hey, the crowd can be on our side, and
right.
But I'm curious. I don't think they've generally that Vanderbilt game. I don't anticipate that being a night game, but yeah, I also just think I don't see Pavia holding up an entire season.
Well, that's true. That's true. Let's put out a last call for any callers. I think we're winding down here, but in the meantime, we'll give you a couple minutes as we go around the horn here and kind of wrap things up with some closing thoughts. Because one thing we touched on it a little bit, but it's been a wild day yet again in college football. I mean, we saw 4 teams in the top 10 over the weekend lose, starting last night with Miami going down, and I think a total of 9 ranked teams in the top 25
Yeah, I
lost.
sent it to you guys earlier. Let me pull up the tweet. But no, it was 4 top 10 teams lost today: Miami, Ole Miss, Texas Tech, Go Sun Devils, and number 10 LSU. Obviously, Tennessee lost today, so that's 5 of the top 11 for anyone who's counting out there. And granted, some of those were top 25 matchups, but other than that, I believe the number 25th team in the country lost as well. My computer is struggling to load.
Yeah, it was
All right, here
Nebraska.
we go.
They lost last night.
Yeah, so number 11, Tennessee. USC, number 20. Memphis lost to UAB, and that was, stunner. And then Utah lost the Holy War, and Nebraska lost as well. So that is 9 top 25 teams lost today.
Yeah. So it continues to be wild and wide open. So, I mean, again, if Tennessee takes care of their business, it's crazy to say it, but all's not lost. I think it's going to be very, very hard at this point to even with a 10-2 record, like I said. But hey, let's get there. Take it a game at a time. There's only 5 of them left, and see what can happen. But it is a crazy time, and like Trey said, and we've talked about it, there's going to be a ton of coaching change activity, I think, afoot. It's I'm watching here, Florida State still, they're trying to drive here to tie the game up. There's about a minute and a half left. They're trailing Stanford by a touchdown, but if they lose, they're 3-4, and I got to believe that could be the end for Norvell. We've talked about the SEC coaches.
Penn State, obviously.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. We're only at about the halfway point of the season, and there's some big, big jobs available.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. You just see people pulling the trigger now to where it's like, all right, you got to make sure you've got that next guy lined up, and you don't want to fall behind in that coaching search because it's so pivotal. The other thing I'll say is, with this Florida State game, like, if you're going to get a targeting penalty, you might as well earn it. And whoever the Stanford defender did that by knocking Thomas Castellanos out of the game. It's now 4th and 19 for FSU, and they got the backup quarterback in there trying to convert this play. But man, that was a tough hit. Obviously, concussion right away.
All right, let's get some final thoughts as we go around the horn. I think the callers have subsided. We appreciate everybody who weighed in, and we didn't even get to go through some of the stuff on text box. It's just voluminous. It's almost we tried to hit some of them up on screen on Fan Run TV, and we tried to refer to them, but we always appreciate the interaction for sure. Walker, what are your final thoughts here as we wind it down?
I think final thoughts, kind of complicated. It's 2 a.m. and my brain is everywhere. Like we've talked for about an hour now about how this loss isn't the end of the world. If you had asked us if we would be in this position at the beginning of the season, I think everyone would have taken it. This is a 9-3 football team that's playing like a 9-3 football team. And whether or not there's that third loss down the road before the playoff or a bowl game, that remains to be seen. But, it's obviously a pretty bad day for Vols fans with this and the Vitello stuff. And Trey was really illuminating about that. And, I wouldn't say I'm looking forward to getting more from that story and getting the details ironed out, but I'm very interested in it, about how that whole situation is going to go down, which we're going to cover Monday.
Definitely. Freaky Foxy, by the way, just weighed in on the live chat, so we still got some interaction.
That's
saying
good.
Having to watch Andre Turrentine makes me really miss Will Brooks. We've talked about that this week. Will Brooks,
He was a player, man.
Yeah, who knew we were going to miss that guy so much, man. Davey, what are your final thoughts as we wind down the show?
Obviously, very disappointed in how today has gone overall. I do feel better, having the opportunity to break this down, put a few things in perspective. But again, it's just like, this is my plea to Josh Heupel. Like, I want to see that fire. I want to see you on the sideline, like show, like, they always say like play the game like it's your last. I kind of want to see Josh Heupel coach the game like it's his last, because I just from a standpoint of watching him on the sidelines, I just feel like there's just been a slight regression in how he's kind of handled some things. And I still think this is a team that, even though, you take this loss tonight, when you just look at everything we've just been talking about with college football, you never know what's going to happen now in the transfer portal, NIL era. And this team is still capable, given what's ahead, to make a college football playoff if you went out. I'm not anticipating it happen, but it's definitely still doable. And like, this needs to be a moment where this team rallies, and like everyone just needs to look in the mirror and be like, all right, we got to find a way to get better. And just, again, do not shoot yourself in the foot. We're making these mistakes. It's not the other, and at least the other team's capitalizing there, but you got to take these opportunities whenever they are presented and make sure you control what you can control. And right now, you at least got a team up next that you've been able to dominate over the years. And they feel probably like, a lot of Tennessee fans did going down to Alabama. It's like, we don't stand a chance against this team. And you gotta make sure Kentucky pays and you get the W and you get the season back on track, because it's a big opportunity for us next weekend. And I really, really need a win after everything that we've seen transpire over the last 24 hours.
Yeah, agreed. I'm with you, man. Hey, before we go out the door, we want to make sure that we give another shout out to the sponsor of Voluntary Reaction, the Griffin Law Firm, your trusted ally in military legal matters. VFL Marshall Griffin and his team of experienced military attorneys are committed to giving a voice to all active duty reserve members and veterans who face criminal allegations by the government. So whether you've been accused of a serious offense like fraud, assault, or DUI, or you're facing administrative separation or having to defend your security clearance or license against adverse action, the Griffin Law Firm's there for you. They are ready to represent you through that challenge, no matter the circumstances. If you're in trouble, they want to help. So let VFL Marshall Griffin and his team of experienced military attorneys make your problem their problem. For a free consultation, you can always call them at 888-707-4282. That's 888-707-4282. Or visit them online at griffinlawdefense.com. Great sponsors of the show. We always appreciate them supporting Fan Run Radio and the Voluntary Reaction. My final thoughts on this is I'm with you, Davey. It's kind of a little cathartic, right? Because I came into this going, man, this is my lot in life. I get to pinch hit for Russ, and it's this type of show. We're going to be talking about all this stuff.
I've enjoyed doing the show with you tonight, Bob. I just wish it was on better circumstances.
Yeah, same.
We need a positive Voluntary Reaction.
Yeah, no
for
doubt.
once in like a month. We've won most of our games this season. It feels like we've had one positive VR.
Yeah, but I'll tell you what, I think what I've learned here is kind of talking through it. There's some stuff I don't agree with some of the listeners on, but then there's some stuff where they talked me off the ledge on some things. And that's what's good about this for all of us, man. We got it. It's the way you kind of rationalize it. And it's late night and everything else, but I feel better than I did a couple hours ago. I really do. And we still have a huge challenge ahead. But if this team somehow finishes 10-2 in the regular season, I don't think you could ask for much more, quite honestly. The bumps in the road are pretty much a pisser. We know that. But if we can go and take care of these other games, and who's to say we can't? Who knows, man? See, look at me. I'm optimistic all of a sudden. We're going to win it all. We'll be in the playoffs. We'll be Final Four.
It's all still in front of us.
Oh yeah, exactly. Now I'm looking forward to the rest of the season. It was a tough day today. We probably are going to hear some news tomorrow that we're not going to love hearing. I know there's some people working behind the scenes feverishly to see that, they can make something happen with Tony staying, and powerful people. I've heard like Peyton and some others. So we'll see. I'll be surprised though. And again, like we all said, you can't begrudge Tony getting this kind of opportunity and seizing it. So, but we'll see. We'll be certainly reporting it as the week goes on. Keep it locked in on Fan Run Radio. The whole team will be back in place on Monday. As far as Russell's schedule, that's TBD right now, but we'll still be doing the drive, and myself and Walker and Bear will be there to carry you through it, and all the other programming with Talk Sports and John Reed and Tony Basilio and the playbook with William Pattison. We'll have it all locked and loaded for you on Monday. Should be a lot of things to talk about then. Davey, thanks for making the time for us. It's good talking to you. Enjoyed doing the show with you today, or tonight, I should say.
Likewise, Bob. Yeah. And I hope you kind of, as you mentioned in your final thoughts, it's one of those things where once you're able to talk it through, it does at least help ease the sting, and it's not as bad as we have these group therapy sessions.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
If you talk about something for almost 3 hours, I'd hope you'd feel better after it.
Hope so, right?
Yeah.
Be surprised.
Hope so. All right. He's Davey Hudson. Walker Smith back in the booth. Appreciate him taking it all on here in the last hour or so. Bear had to leave because he needed his beauty sleep, whatever. But we appreciate Bear too. And we appreciate you listening with us, watching us as always. We'll be back with another voluntary reaction next weekend. I'm sure Russ will be back in place. We'll get it going. And again, keep it locked in on Fan Run Radio. Hope you all have a great, great Sunday. Talk to you soon. Take care.
So you tried John C. Smith. How's that working out for you? But the thing about Texas A&M is now that they are somewhat under the radar, if you can believe it, because 2 years ago we talked about their $35 million NIL program, and they just couldn't quite get over the hump.